Well, guess what? There was a change of plans, everybody. Looks like I'm going to be on the Primes panel tonight, so this should be interesting. So, welcome. This will be fun. A lot of my friends on here, Falinor, Sprouticus, Counterpoints. Should be very fun. So, we will see. Awesome. Gonna go live now. They're talking about dogs and dog dominance and things like that, so we'll see. Here we go.
7-8-year-old.
I wouldn't even say it. Most dogs even have that. I wouldn't call dogs that smart. Like maybe an octopus has the intelligence of a small child, but not dogs.
Okay. They do.
Oh my god.
Okay. Can dogs do basic math?
They can.
Yeah, they can actually.
Yeah, they can do basic math, and that's
I didn't know.
Yeah, as people think that dogs are stupid, they're actually incredibly smart. Like one of my favorite movies, sorry, not movies, but like videos that I like to show to people is to show just how human that dogs are. It's one video of a husky in particular that's actually crying on the grave of its owner. And what that distinctively indicates is two things. One, it indicates that it is aware of the fact that its owner is no longer alive. And two, it understands that that grave belongs to its owner. And the third one is obviously the clear component that the huskies experience complex emotions up to and including mourning the loss of loved ones. So people need to understand that dogs are a lot smarter and a lot more human than we give them credit for, which is why I treat my dogs like kids and less like dogs or property or objects. Because I love my dogs because they are my family.
Do you mount your kids?
When they're doing stupid shit, yeah.
Wait, what? No, please don't say that.
It's not abuse. They're doing stupid. He tries to go and play in the fucking open electricity or something. Yeah, I'm gonna sit on him and pull him away from it. I'm not gonna let him hurt himself.
Why do you have to sit on the dog? Sorry, your child. Why do you have to sit on your child?
I'm doing anything while I'm working on the outlet to make sure it doesn't electrocute them.
But why do you have to sit on them? I don't.
Because if I'm the only parent home, I can't exactly be like stand behind me and don't touch it. My dogs listen better than my kids do. Like,
how old are your kids?
My son's 2. But I'm not surprised that my dogs are smarter than my kids.
You sit. Sit.
Yeah, I'll like put my leg over his thighs to keep him from moving. Yeah, I'm not gonna like crush him. Like, oh my god, I'm not like making like turn their bones into jelly.
Bites them once or twice too.
Yeah, but like if I'm working on it like this, for instance, I'll put one thigh over his 2 legs so he can't get up or crawl off or play with the electrical outlet while I'm working on it.
Triangle choke them at all?
No, I'm not gonna abuse my kids.
Do you put the beef stick in your mouth and go up to your kid and let your kid take it out of your mouth?
No.
No.
No, I don't need to teach my son gentle with that. I teach him different ways.
Colin, have you bitten your son? Be honest.
Have I bitten my son? No,
I bitten my son.
Not this week.
I've bitten strangers. It's like, all right.
I have bitten strangers.
Falinor's like the mailman's a different story. Okay, the mailman's a very different story.
Well, audience members, that's not how I plan to start this. Okay. All right. Well, we've learned something about. Okay. Ever since the very first fucking day, and I remember when Falinor appeared, it's like that in every subsequent time he's been here, we've learned fascinating things about this man. And I mean that. I'm just saying fascinating. Like I want to dig into you for like hours, dig into your brain for hours to understand.
What
this is a well that goes deep. Like I don't. Okay.
The domain of Shergoth. No.
Oh boy. So aristocracy says she wants to do a dog debate with you sometime.
More than happy to.
Okay. All right. You heard it, Eris. Here, I'll even put you two in a. We're friends, right? Fallen or we're yeah we are.
How are my sound levels? Is everything good? Hopefully it's all good.
I'll put you two in a group DM. Maybe you guys really want to do this.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Hopefully this sounds good.
I want to be a fly on the wall in that discussion.
Or you could just be an audience member.
That's true.
I'll bring Sigan. She's one of my.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
I don't want to say favorites, but like she's one of my more well behaved. Um,
I think it's pretty good. All right,
I
cool.
don't want to say bitches, but that's kind of what she is. She's one of my champion breed stock. She's fucking beautiful too. Oh my god, and she's so sweet. Fucking hell, she's so
Do
sweet.
you feel like you've mounted her more often than you've mounted your other bitches?
No, I typically only have to do that with like certain males that are over aggressive. Like our canine was one. I actually got him as a biter, and I actually I recovered him in probably 3 weeks. He went. This actually breaks my heart, but I got our canine. He was a biter, and I got him from another vet tech, which is heartbreaking because he was severely abused and it was very clear that he was. And I got him re-domesticated and re-socialized in about 3 weeks. So my turnaround times for domestication and socialization is typically several times faster than the average trainer.
Okay.
I don't believe in euthanization of dogs. I don't believe there's such thing as a bad dog, just a bad breeder and a bad handler.
Okay. So let's. Oh, what's happening now? What are you showing us? All right.
I think we should talk. I think we should talk about dogs more.
No,
Prime.
we're
I
not
think
going to
that
talk
should be
about
the
fucking
first-
dogs. No, we're not going to do that. All right. Counterpoints. Get it out. You want to say something? Go ahead.
No, I don't. I don't have any meat sticks to put in my mouth right now. Was gonna test this theory out.
All right.
Let's see what's up. I was gonna see how gentle Mr. Bojangles was.
That sentence can be taken in several different ways.
Oh boy.
Listen, I'm just vibing over here, all right? I'm just fucking vibing.
What is happening? Audience
No, you've let it go on for 15 minutes. I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Look at him, his screen froze.
I know. I have let it go on. Part of this is my fault.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
All right. Well, this is.
It's all your fault, Brian. It's all your fault.
Anyway, for people who are still watching, all right, hello, hi. This is the Reverie Roundtable, which we do Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern or wherever we start. Yeah, we've got an amazing group of guests. Okay, something I'm going to have to disclaim right from the start. I need you to listen to me, audience. When we started this, like at the beginning of the day, we had a very different group of guests like lined up. We had 3 trans individuals who were going to be here, but they canceled all for different reasons, right? Which is a thing. It happens, and it happened last minute, so it is what it is. That'll be important for the second topic. That is what it is. We gotta just keep on rolling, all right? So. But I'll say this again because people are gonna get mad at me. I'll say it again later on. But yeah, we had a different group, but now we have this group. So we're gonna go to this group. All right. Thank you for being here, Sig Natural. So happy to have you around. Thank you for stopping by. It was great having you there on All Black Everything last week. Everyone had a ton of fun. We were talking about how thankful they were to have you around. So thank you for being here today.
Awesome. Hey, I'm really thankful to even be here. Okay. I was gone for quite some time. Okay. Had a pretty bad job. Now I don't have such a bad job. All right. Now I can do a little bit more, especially in the discussion sphere. Not sure if I can moderate a Discord yet, though.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Next, Doobie, our Dark Lord. Doobie, thank you for stopping by. Once again, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. For those of you who don't know me, I am Doobie. I help run the politics server on Discord, the best and biggest politics server on the platform. And yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's been an interesting panel.
Oh yeah, oh it will be. What they'll say about it on Twitter, it certainly will be. All right, let's go to a goddamn EIP. His name is Counterpoints. Counterpoints, thank you for being back here once again. All right, continuing this streak. All right, and we're so grateful to Counterpoint spending his time. He's a busy man. Oh, I mean, it's not super busy. I mean, like Tate's figurines all the goddamn time. So
this is my only figurine time. Outside of here, I have no figurine time. I am a busy man, but I always make time
Topics.
for the Reverie Roundtable because it's always a very fun and
last
entertaining
minute jumping on
political wrestle match. So I fucking love that
it's
shit. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Connor.
homeopathic therapies is topic number 1,
right,
and about whether or not the spread of them on the internet is good.
I'm a Marine veteran, law enforcement veteran, science
if
fiction
doctors
nerd,
should stop people from doing it. What's
So I
up,
do,
Ghost
like,
Queen? How you
breakdowns, media
doing?
reactions, debates, panels, all that kind of stuff.
And then
And
topic 2 is
just getting off of
regarding
a pretty, I would just call
transgender
it
and
interesting
non-binary
debate with the
inmates in
Serfs and Lauren
prisons.
Southern and a guy named Twin of Tail Rat.
That
Two Rabbits or
is
something
what
like that.
is
And that's pretty much it. That's me. Check me out.
what is on the docket for this evening.
Thank
So
you.
it should be fun.
Okay, next we have, and I've heard a lot about that debate.
I'm sure you have. I'm surprised I still have my invite.
No, I don't know. The people have said,
Yeah, it was kind of a last minute
haven't
thing. I just
seen
hopped
it,
on.
and again,
So
I
check
always
memes. All right,
judge a
check
person
memes.
by-
It wasn't that bad. There's nothing that I said that was bad at all. So
Okay. Thank you, Boji, for gifting how to
Oh my
watch it.
god,
Thank
that's
you,
so
Zonia Live,
good.
for resubbing. It's awful
Oh
kind
my
of you.
god.
And thank you,
I love
DJ
it.
Red Blue, for using your Prime
I
Gaming
love it.
on the
Is
channel.
that
That's awesome.
is that Looter?
It's amazingly kind of you all. Thank you for,
Is
the,
that
for the support.
Looter?
It means a lot.
Is
All
that
right.
me and Looter? I don't even know.
Next, we
That's
have someone who
amazing.
haven't had on a
That
closed
is,
panel.
oh my god,
Very
that's
long
good.
time, but
I'm
you
about
know,
to change
the
that to my
opportunity
thing. Oh
struck,
yeah,
and I had
that's
to grab them.
amazing.
Thank you, Mike, for joining us
Oh my
once
god,
again.
that's like literally. I think that's the best
Now you seem to be going a completely different
Photoshop
direction
I've
from
seen in
disability
a
justice.
while.
How you doing, buddy?
Damn, that is
Good.
fucking on point,
Well, I took
sir.
Dewey's
point.
message to heart not too long ago when he was like, nobody wants to talk about disability issues all the time, which is true. But
I don't agree with that.
So I tried. I still bring it up, but you know, I'm trying to expand my horizons. You know.
Yeah, I would love to have a debate with that.
Yeah, I work with the city
Super
of
fucking
Burnsville,
amazing.
Minnesota, the Democratic Party in Minnesota, and
Well, I
the
appreciate
police
that,
department and,
Ghost Queen. Thank you very much.
Burnsville too.
I'm sorry that I wasn't able to
And
do
I'm doing
our
this for fun.
discussion.
Thank you.
But,
Means a lot. All right, moving forward, we have. Thank you, Mara Jade, for resubbing. That's awfully kind of you. Thank you so much for
You guys are amazing.
resubbing.
This is like
4
my
months,
favorite thing to do
for a 4-month
nowadays.
streak. We're
Get on
have
the
a hype train
internet and
shadow.
argue
We
with
have level 1 hype train.
strangers
Let's do
slash
what we
people I
do.
know slightly.
But I thank those people for their kind support. Okay.
It's fun.
Next, we have the person we've been trying to get on for a while, but you know, things been in the way. But we're happy to have them back. Sprouticus. Hey, friend, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm ready for this conversation. We already kind of got like a prelude with this dog conversation. I did want to start with this. I haven't been invited back to a Royale, so as I see it, I'm still a reigning stream queen. All these other ones have just been interims because I haven't gotten the chance to defend my title. So still reigning stream queen on this channel. But I'm excited for this debate and ready to get into it.
You can be stream queen in your heart. That's where the stream queen lives any which way, right? Right here, buddy. All right. So, okay. Next, Boji, thank you for gifting another 2 gifts to Pablo the Flame. Awfully kind of you. Thank you, Falinor, for literally just Falinor and Biggs for literally just being at the right place at the right time. It's helpful. Falinor, thanks for coming through and being the special person you are. Go ahead, Falinor.
Yes, that's
Add a
so
little
good.
bit of spice to the life, huh? Yeah. But yeah, my name's Falinor. I stream under Cryptic Archon as well. I do a lot of charity events and stuff, mostly on Twitch. I'll let you actually cover that right there. You just got a bunch of donations.
Sorry, just very quickly. Boji, thank you for gifting. King of the Internet, thank you for the 100 bits. And then Zonia Live for gifting 10 hot tier 1 gift subs to the channel. Amazing. Really kind of you. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Why am I not seeing people spamming those Prime Banker emotes, right? Spam those emotes. This is literally for this reason. Spam those emotes. Let Zonia know how much we appreciate her. Oh, and then thank you, Counterpoints, for gifting 5 tier 1 gift subs to the channel. Oh, that's awfully kind of you. We're like at a level 3? A level 3 hype train. 49% done, 51% left. I don't have time to like shepherd this the way I usually do. But yeah, thank you, Counterpoints, for doing that. Spam those Prime Banker emotes for, yes, Counterpoints and Zonia Live. There are 2 people who are helping us out, keeping this channel sustainable. I appreciate it so much. Okay, Falinor.
But yeah, I do a lot of stuff in finance, a lot of wealth management, a lot of business. I am a professional dog breeder that breeds champion lines. I focus predominantly on Huskies and Wolf hybrids. Is what I'm moving into. I like aggressive breeds because I don't think there's a such thing as a bad dog, just bad breeders and bad handlers. I kind of missed all the chat things for that conversation. I'm kind of sad that I did, Prime. But yeah, I'm also the human hand grenade. I love walking into rooms and blowing things up. But yeah, I am super ecstatic about this debate topic because I'm actually randomly prepared for it by accident.
Okay. All right, cool. Thank you, other people who have donated. If you want to help with the hype train, sub to the channel. You haven't subbed yet. Donate bits to the channel or donate subs. All those are great ways to support the community, help us out, help us reach to a level 4 hype train. I can't do it without you, but again, I think the ones who've helped us out so far. Okay, Biggs, thank you for stopping by again. Just happened to be around.
Hey, I'm always here to help out.
Yeah, and I actually do always like interacting with you. So thanks for being around.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. My name is Biggs. I stream on Twitch at Biggs8500. I'm a right center leaning libertarian for the most part. I think that these takes are going to be pretty good and these topics we have at hand. So I'm excited to get down with this. And everybody, Prime does this amazing hosting of these panels almost every day of the week. You guys should definitely subscribe. He does an amazing job. These panels are amazing. He gets like all kinds of different voices going. So definitely support him. Sprouticus, another amazing channel. Counterpoints on YouTube. I don't know if any of the other guys here stream, but I just want to say, Prime, thank you again for having me, and everybody give Prime a sub. He's amazing.
Thank you. And thank you, Sprouticus, for the 100 bits, and someone for typing very loudly. Okay. All right. So we'll get started with our first topic. 1 second. All right. Topic 1. In counterpoints, we can hear some background noise. If you could. Okay. In the age of social media, homeopathic therapies have spread across the internet. There's been a lot of pushback against them, but should that be the case in a doctor's office? If a patient believes that homeopathic remedies could help, should a doctor attempt to convince them otherwise, especially since that might push the patient away? Instead, if the proposed therapy is harmless, should the doctor simply recommend other medically sound treatment along with whatever the patient wants? Or should doctors be laser focused on spreading information that is scientifically backed? Okay, yeah. So this was inspired by me seeing something about was it Reiki? I believe it's pronounced. Like it's like a therapy where they like run their hands over you and like change your energy or something, right? But that actually being in hospitals, because it seems to have some sort of effect in terms of like at least people's mentality, right? So if these things again
power of the mind
aren't necessarily
I do agree
right?
with some of that.
Kind
of like religion
is that
too.
Okay, or should we be disabusing people of misinformation?
So I do think that there's some
introductions, starting with Sig Natural.
I do think there's some
into this topic,
benefits to placebo effect.
I don't even know, but it's crazy on the first one because I feel like I just have to take. It's just like just focus on this. I feel like doctors should just focus on what the science and everything like that, right? Like, should doctors be laser focused on spreading information that is scientifically backed? Absolutely. Okay. When it comes to being a doctor, that's pretty much what you just should do at all times. If someone really wants the homeopathic stuff, they can get it with or without their doctor, frankly. So I think doctors, to save their ass, should just recommend, shit that's safe. Makes sense.
Okay.
Seems good.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go to Doobie.
I generally agree. I think that it really depends on what it is. If it's just Reiki, or they want to hold crystals in their hands or some shit, I think it's fine for them to do that outside of a hospital. I don't think that should be inside of a hospital. But if they get to the point where they're like doing things that can negatively impact their recovery or their treatment, then the doctor should definitely tell them, hey, this is a bad thing to do. You shouldn't do this, and kind of go over why. Yeah, that's about it. I think that there's things that people can do to like help them with their like mental well-being, because that is a pretty big side to like recovery or to treat treatment for like a disease, like your mental well-being, the anxiety that you're feeling, the stress that you're under, all these things that impact how you're going to recover. Right. So if them, having feathers waved over them and holding crystals and shit for a couple hours a week helps them feel better about the situation, and that helps with the rest of their treatment, I think that can be a positive thing. But I just don't think it's something that doctors should be pushing.
Okay. Skanky Opinions, thank you for the 2,000 bits. And again, why am I not seeing the Prime Banker emotes spam for Skanky Opinions? They're helping out the channel. Spam those emotes for them. Show them that we care and that we appreciate what they've done. Thank you so much. All right. Let's go with counterpoints.
Yeah, so I actually think that there are some alternative treatments that should be considered. I mean, I'm pretty sure marijuana and CBD and all that kind of stuff was basically considered alternative medicine maybe a decade ago. I think it should be studied. Same thing with massage therapy. I'm somebody who suffers from back and neck issues and was basically told by surgeons that it's not serious enough to deal with. So I have found basically cranial sacral massage therapy very beneficial for my pain levels. So what I would say, kind of what was already echoed before, was that like if it gets in the way of actual treatment, obviously that's part of a treatment plan. But if physiologically you can assist somebody with maybe something that's not typically thought of as medicine, because normally like Western medicine is cut it or give it drugs. That's Western medicine. Very rarely is it like this like holistic view of the body. And while massage therapy obviously isn't going to cure cancer, if that can help people with their pain while they're dealing with cancer or while they're dealing with other issues, I actually think that should be incorporated. And the fundamental shift should be, I think that Western medicine has been very focused on like a algebraic formula. The patient has a problem, we're going to hit that problem. Patient has a new problem, we're going to hit that problem. And they just keep moving down the problems. Whereas if they took a more holistic approach to health in general, then that would probably be beneficial for everybody.
Okay. Let's go to Mike.
Yeah. If a patient comes to you and you're a doctor and says, "Hey, this is, what do you think of this homeopathic thing or whatever?" And you just say you just have like GERD, insomnia, or like back pain or something like that, and they can tell you, "Yeah, I don't know if there's any real evidence to this, if that's what they think, but you're welcome to try it." The thing is, the prescription, like the treatment, has to match what your ailment is. So if you're Steve Jobs and you have pancreatic cancer and it's treatable, and you're trying to treat it with Reiki instead of surgery, then you're probably going to have some issues, and that's the doctor not doing enough to push that on the patient to save their life. But if it's something like back pain or GERD, and you say, "Hey, this alkaline water is really helping me," sure, drink that alkaline water then. Placebo is still a placebo, so if it works, it works. I just don't think doctors should be pushing it, but I don't think they should be pushing back as hard if it seems like it's not going to be something that really does any effect, except for, it's just going to hit their wallet. It's going to, it's just like any other snake oil.
Okay. Don't worry, guys. I've got other ways to take this topic. Plenty of ways to take this topic. But Sprouticus.
So the idea that I have is that the doctors should do what is scientifically backed, but understanding on the other hand that science is not above being questioned, and doctors would be in the position to question the science. So if a doctor has a better solution, medically, that they think would be able to fix the issue better, then the doctor should be able to push that. But the doctor should be concerned about the patient, not concerned about lining their pockets, not concerned about what happens to their practice, right? They should be concerned about the patient and getting the patient better. For doctors, the patient should be the number one concern, and whatever they believe the patient needs to continue moving forward, I believe the doctor should push whatever they believe that is. And if the patient believes that the doctor is incorrect in in their investigation or in their suggestion, then they can always feel free to go to a different doctor and get a second opinion.
Falinor.
I actively support homeopathy. I think it's a fantastic way of dealing with a major majority of issues. I do not believe that hashtag pilling it is the best way of dealing with most problems. I think that one of the biggest issues that we have, and scientifically it's been validated, is that we take pills for literally everything and anything. And the issue is we don't let natural processes take its course. But when you look at it from a practical perspective, every time you get cut, you don't rub Neosporin and peroxide into every single cut you have. Most injuries people allow to naturally heal over time, whether it's the body naturally regenerating itself and restoring itself and rebuilding broken or damaged cells through bodybuilding, for instance, or through cuts or abrasions on their bodies, or through bruising. For instance, we allow natural processes to take its course. For immunity, for instance, the overwhelming majority of immune responses to viral and bacterial contaminants that our bodies come in contact with, natural process takes care of that. Very, very rarely do we actually use antibodies or vaccines as a translated cure for those issues, or alleviation, I guess is a good word to use. I would say there's like 500 mainstream vaccines globally, but there's trillions of viruses that exist in the world and bacterias. We only vaccine for like 500 of them. Natural immunity takes care of the rest. So homeopathy has a huge place in society, whether it's massage therapy or just stimulation through something like natural vitamin intake through micronutrients. The overwhelming majority of issues that we run into as human beings are taken care of through those processes, and they're natural in nature. I also openly support Eastern and Western medicine in tandem. I think the best practice of medicine is the combination of all known forms of medicine
Belnor, if you
and
guys don't
applying
know,
what's
is
the
very
best
long-winded
treatment,
in general.
not what's the
Just
best thing to
FYI.
line your pockets.
Okay. We'll be back to you, Falinar, soon enough. Let's go to Biggs.
Yeah, so on the first part of this topic, I think that the doctor's main concern should be trying to find the best path of either correction of whatever ailment you have or relief for whatever ailment you have. I also think that they should be focusing on proven methods, but I also think that when we have homeopathic medicines that are not harmful, but may have some either psychological benefit or, like Felinor said, some actual benefit. I think that chiropractors definitely provide a benefit to people. I think that there are some other things that we see. I know the ones I know a lot of like Olympic athletes do the toxins removal through like the cupping, things like that. So I do think that there are some cases where
The cupping? What? Sorry.
so where they do the suction cups on the people's like backs usually.
Oh,
Things like
I
that.
thought it was something completely different.
No,
Okay,
no,
never
no,
mind.
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you'll see it on a lot of athletes. They'll have like the big circles on their back and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different types of things. So I think that as a doctor, you should be focusing on things that you know are proven, but also if there are things that are not harmful, that's fine to say, hey, you can go take these paths as well. Where I think the bigger issue is when people like I forgot who brought it up. I don't know if it was Mike or Mike brought it up, but they brought up the Steve Jobs thing with the pancreatic cancer. I think there are cases where people get in their head that there are things that can solve the issues, but in reality, they're so beyond that. Even if it was effective, it's not going to be effective enough to actually save their lives. And I think that's where doctors kind of need to draw the line. And when you have somebody actively taking steps that are harming them, that's when doctors kind of need to step in and say, "Hey, we need to make a new path, a new plan for you to get better." So I think that's where doctors need to step in. But I do think that there are some things that can be benefit, like chiropractic, acupuncture can even be beneficial. But I think overall, doctors should focus on what they know and focus on improving the people's lives. But give them some leeway too. I think it's the personal decision if they want to try some things. As long as it's not actively harming them, let them do it.
Okay. Our friend GSU Gambit has a guy in here. We're so happy to have you. Thanks for stopping by, friend. For one, you can introduce yourself, and then two, the topic.
Yeah, I am GSU Gambit. I think most people know me, so that's my introduction. But on to this. It's actually hilarious because I was laughing the entire time I was reading this because growing up, my grandmother would always tell us for almost everything to just take castor oil. And it was some of the worst advice, but it worked for everything. I don't remember a time where it didn't work. I don't prescribe this, people. It's silly, but it was just hilarious how they used to give us castor oil. The
power of the mind is an amazing thing for sure.
But being a little bit more, hey, go back downstairs. Being a little bit more serious. I'm a big fan of like fasting, water fasting for multiple days, sometimes even a month. It's it's been proven that it will bring your kids upstairs, but it will people that have problems with I forget which type of diabetes. One of them is like your insulin is just gone. The other one is like seems like it's related to the food. I think too, but it's been shown to fix in some cases that high blood pressure, a ton of other things. So there are certain things that I would recommend that aren't mainline going to be recommended by a doctor, but most times I try to stay in lockstep with whatever the doctors are prescribing. But there are certain situations where I think, and I can't remember who was saying this earlier. I think it was Counterpoints or either Spartacus, but I feel like we get tied into trying to fix a certain problem and not looking at the grander narrative. And there are some things that just changing your lifestyle can fix, and prescribing medicine may or may not be the best for certain things. I feel like it's like a lifelong subscription at that point. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get into it in the open. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it. So yeah, I mean, this is open to everyone.
All right.
Go ahead. You go first.
Let me go ahead and kick this off with GSU Gambit, baby. Like, me and you are so on the same page when it comes to water fasting. There are so many studies that have been published by so many doctors about the health benefits of water fasting. It's insane that people don't actively practice it. Most people don't even realize that your natural.
Could you explain
body-
what that is? Can you explain what that?
Sure. So water fasting is the process of a type of fasting that specializes in focusing on the ingestion of only water, typically for a period of time between 4 and 15 days. Now, there are some people who have done it for 30 days. I do not recommend that. It is not safe.
I have.
It has incredible health effects, and it also helps with the dramatic loss of weight. But I would prefer intermittent fasting practices with water fasting in lieu of that for health reasons. But to each their own, consult your doctor. I absolutely agree. Most people don't even realize that 80% of the human body's energy taken in is actually spent consuming food. It's actually horrifying when you think about it from an efficiency perspective. That most of your natural processes, including regenerative processes and restorative processes for the human body, don't even start until 96 hours after no intake of food.
Yep.
To put it into a practical perspective, I used to be 226 pounds a month ago, and I've dropped down to 205 pounds, and I've added 10 pounds of muscle, and I can now lift 700 pounds with my legs. And I just maxed out the chest press machine at 250.
There is like
diet and exercise has incredible effects.
Yeah,
there is like some types of
Wait,
people.
hold on 1 second, 1 second. Just so we can give people things to look up. The process that Fallon is referencing is called it's actually pronounced two different ways. It's either called autophagy or autophagy, and I hate the second way. Don't ever say that. Yeah, but it's autophagy. But yeah,
It
some
means
doctors,
self-eating.
yeah, but some doctors say autophagy, and it's like it throws me off and it's weird because that's absolutely not it. But medical professionals pronounce it that way, so I try to just let people know it could be either or. But that process, like Fallon says, only starts after you've gone without eating for a certain period of time. This process is where your body heals cells that need to be repaired. This process absolutely does not happen if you're always ingesting food. So there's a plethora of scientific literature around it. If you want to read up.
One point that I would add that to GSU that you did not cover is the body does not quote unquote destroy those cells. What it does is it takes those cells, those incomplete proteins, and actually breaks them back down and then uses them. So don't misconstrue that for the body's just discarding those cells. It's actually rebuilding them by
I said repair
elsewhere.
Yeah, I said
no.
Okay. Before we get into this, you guys are going down like a rabbit hole of like pushing some weird like foo-foo nonsense.
Okay.
I just want to ask you a question, fellow Narc.
Mm-hmm.
So you said earlier that like you support and advocate for homeopathic medicine.
Yeah.
So do you disagree with the rest of us where we said, hey, if this isn't getting in the way of treatment from like actual doctors at hospitals, right, we're okay with it. But the moment that it starts to counter that treatment or get in the way of that treatment or replaces that treatment, it should not be advocated for or allowed.
Well,
do you disagree with that?
Hang on, I'll go ahead and answer that. What I specifically said is I believe in the practice of both standard Western and Eastern medicine, up to and including the use of surgery. I mean, if you got a gunshot wound, I wouldn't recommend drinking water. I would recommend getting stitches,
Robitussin.
getting the bullet removed first, and then getting the stitches.
Okay,
I,
but
as I
because
said,
here's what concerns me though, because the way that you worded that earlier, and the way you've been talking about some of this other shit, uh, it reminds me of like the kind of thinking that led to like Steve Jobs dying, for example. If you want to go to like a really
No,
famous case where he had pancreatic cancer, he thought his
Yeah.
body could heal itself with if he just got on the right diet,
No.
did some juice fasting, did
Wasn't
fucking
juice fasting.
Reiki or
thought-
whatever.
No,
So
I
you could
thought
form a male mummy.
Yeah,
And
all you had was
so
fucking
he went the homeopathic medicine route,
Yeah.
ignored the advice from
died.
his doctors, and he died.
Yeah, yeah.
So you would say that would be a bad thing to do. That if you have
Yeah.
cancer, you should
Yeah,
definitely go
he
to the
should go get
hospital and
chemo.
do what the doctors say, right?
He
Yeah.
should have gone and gotten chemo. He had
Okay.
cancer. He should have gotten chemo. So here's one of the things. The differences. You're
Wait,
not
this
fucking
is such a
Wolverine.
simplification.
Yeah, you're not. No. It's a great example. You're not Wolverine
not.
unless your regenerative rate exceeds that of the destruction rate. Homeopathy will not help you. You need to stop the thing that is literally disintegrating you from the inside. And he should have gotten the chemo because then he could have leveraged the chemo combined with homeopathy to successfully recover, which is what
Wait.
his doctors were recommending, was leveraging chemotherapy and then allowing his body to
Wait,
naturally recover
so
over
let's
time
be
after the
clear.
cancer was in.
Pancreatic cancer is not something where chemotherapy is a guarantee. I have an uncle that
Correct.
passed after doing chemo from pancreatic cancer, and it
It,
also
it
not
is one of the
true.
most deadly.
It
Yeah,
is.
so
It is
like,
yeah, and I'm not saying
There's certain kinds though. His was very treatable.
Go
But
to,
people,
well, we don't know
people should
what
not.
his.
I want to
People
go to.
should not be forced.
I want to go to Sig. He's been having his hand up, and then we'll go to Sprout and Mike. All right.
Ask Falnor a question. I just want to ask, what do you think homeopathic medicine helps with?
homeopathic medicine, for my definition, is a leveraging of natural processes to naturally heal the body.
Like, what does it help with?
Homeopathy, it helps
Yeah.
with. Well, typically it helps the restoration of damaged or destroyed cells or components of your body. But you're not a fucking starfish. You're not going to regrow an arm because of homeopathy.
But you do think that
What's
it would. So, like, by your definition, you do believe that it would at least help, not cure, but help stuff like cancer.
No, what I'm saying
No.
is, say for instance, you got chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy killed the cancer cells. Homeopathy combined with chemotherapy, your body would naturally recover over time.
So
the
it would
cancer
help.
would be eradicated. Yeah, homeopathy
Okay,
would help you after the components that are killing you have been destroyed, and then your body will naturally recover. That's the leveraging of natural processes such as cell replication, stem cell processes, and procedures for replacement of cells that have been either diminished in population or completely wiped out. So say, for instance, to help this from a perspective of you're getting injections. So the first injection is your standard series treatment of chemo, followed up by a standard series treatment of injection of stem cells, which would then naturally replace the cells that have been lost.
Where does homeopathic
ask,
stuff like fall under that? Like, where does that come
The
in?
homeopathic process would be the leveraging of the stem cells, where your stem cells and the natural processes in order of stem cells would then replace your old cells.
The stem cell treatment falls under homeopathy.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because the stem cell is the natural occurring cell within a human body. So every human being is born with a large amount of stem cells, and over time, you diminish that population of stem cells, and your body obviously starts to decay with age. And
I mean,
obviously,
if stem cell treatment falls under homeopathy, then I'm all for homeopathic medicine. Then I mean, if that's that's the case.
First off, there's people that can't do a water fast for very long, at least, such as myself. I've got an extremely high metabolism as is. A water fast would make me look like a starving, like I haven't eaten in 2 weeks or a month, and you could see my full rib cage. It wouldn't be healthy for me. But at the same time, if someone does not agree with the doctors and wants to go with homeopathy to fix what they wanted to fix, such as Steve Jobs, I don't think Steve Jobs should have been forced to do what his doctors suggested. I don't think anyone should be forced to do what their doctors suggest. I think
Nobody's saying that.
and I'm trying to see if anyone disagrees with me. So I'm glad you don't. But there might be other people on this panel that do. So I don't know if anyone agrees that homeopathy
I don't
should
think it'd
be.
be a good idea to like tie him down and force him to go through chemo, right? Like if he doesn't want to do it,
Yeah,
if he wants to die,
nobody.
let him die. Like it's fine.
Yeah, fuck him. If he wants
Yeah,
to die,
I
let
agree
him
with
die.
him. I don't think anyone should be forced to take a treatment they're not willing to.
Sprout.
Okay, that's just funny because everyone seems to be wanting to force everyone else to take the vaccine.
No, it's
I
Sprout.
think we all just agreed that we all just agreed
if his
we all
pancreas
just
blows
agreed that
up
we shouldn't be
and
forced to have a
went
medical
didn't-
treatment done.
Sprout,
We
I
all
didn't
just
agree with Sprout. I didn't
we all
agree with
just
shit.
agreed
I
that we
didn't agree
should
with
have
shit.
medical
Sprout,
treatment
Prime-
forced upon us.
Prime is the only person that would agree with that on this panel.
That's
probably.
not.
Unless-
Oh my god. Anyway.
Prime is the only authoritarian on the panel.
Absolutely
Wait, hold on.
right.
Wait. So
Yes, I'm right here. I'm
yeah,
right here.
So I'd agree with forcing people to take the vaccine, right? But the reason for that
Jesus Christ.
is because this cancer isn't like contagious, right? He's not going to go around giving other people cancer, right? But if you're not vaccinated, you can go around giving other people COVID and kill them.
Yeah,
So
but
if
if
I
you're
spec- I don't
vaccinated-
believe I
Given that you live in
I
a
don't believe I
community,
specified
right?
cancer.
Yeah.
I don't believe
No,
I
no.
specified cancer.
Wait,
What I
but that's
said
what
was
we're talking about. You asked.
You
us-
reached
no,
the
what
point
I,
about
what, I,
your
no,
job.
what I said was for someone who wants to go the homeopathic route and does not want the Western medicine, that they shouldn't be forced to. What I got from a bunch of people was, we shouldn't tie someone down and make them get a medical treatment.
This
But
was
then when
for
I but
surgery
but
when it
wait,
came
stop,
to
stop,
jobs.
stop. But then
Let
I
him
mentioned
finish.
vaccines. Then I mentioned vaccines, and all of a sudden everyone's opinion flips. It's almost like you don't have an opinion on it. You just have an opinion on it until
It's
CNN tells
almost
you
like one of
otherwise.
these things is fucking
wait,
contagious and affects other people. Like, what the
Prime,
fuck are you talking about?
Same page with
We
Sprout
can't
here.
hear.
Yeah,
No,
I
wait,
agree with
let's-
Sprout.
No, let's be clear though. The only people that changed were Sig and Doobie. Everyone else stayed the same. It's not everyone flipped.
Change.
Okay,
Oh, wait,
change
TSU,
it.
TSU,
Wait, I didn't
TSU.
change
I
shit.
never
What are you talking
I never initially agreed with the point. What are you talking about? I kept
Oh,
my mouth
okay,
shut.
gotcha,
I was
gotcha.
like, fuck this. I'm not going to say
Well,
anything.
he's the only Doobie that changed. Okay.
It was
Yeah,
obvious.
Hold
he was
on.
gonna-
Don't say that I
point to that.
changed my opinion. Right? I was talking specifically about cancer, right? And I laid out the reasons this is different. I don't think you'd agree. Disagree, right? So cancer's not contagious. COVID is. Other things that people get vaccinated for are fucking contagious. So yeah, given that we live in a society where your
But you're
behaviors,
contagious with the vaccine.
your
But y'all-
fucking contagious disease that you might be infected with can affect other people and murder them, right? Can kill them. Yeah, you should be forced to
All
go
of
through
those things.
vaccination. I'm sorry.
all
I'm
of those-
I'm
all of
sorry
those-
that's so
wait,
complicated.
wait. This is why. No, wait. Hold on, hang on. This is why everybody that has this opinion is stupid. The viral load is the same if you're vaccinated, so you have to prescribe the same thing to people who even have the vaccine. But a lot of y'all don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about on Twitch, so y'all just say stupid
Yeah,
shit.
but, and
But
that's
yes.
the thing, like you can still
Like-
be contagious even if you've gotten the vaccine.
Yes, even if you got no, period. If you have the Delta variant, the viral load inside of your body is the same as that of a person that's unvaccinated. You can pass the
Are the
you can pass the
symptoms
virus.
as bad?
Yes.
There's no research
Yeah,
that suggests that it's
no.
not.
Yeah, so
There's
And
no
you're
research.
you're less
That is
likely
total
to get
bullshit.
it.
What are you
You're
talking
less
about?
likely to get the
Mo-
virus.
Most of the people who are dying now are unvaccinated people.
That's not
That's
true.
So,
nearly
so
everyone.
the majority of the dead. So,
That's
whoa.
total
Hey,
bullshit.
hold on.
I
Let's-
just
let's-
had this
Can
argument
I
with
talk?
Mark
Because
Shepard.
I'm being straw man. Hold on, can I talk? That's not in
Yeah.
contention with what I said at all, Prime. At all. In any way.
Hold on. Is dying not a symptom? Like, I mean, like I died. Oh,
Okay,
there might
can
be
I
a symptom
explain-
that you had
can I ex-
the virus.
All right,
Okay.
Before you
Like-
continue to yell, can I explain why your line of reasoning is flawed?
No,
Right.
hold on. But before you go on, right? Like we can see people with more severe symptoms, right? They're literally in the hospital. They literally cannot breathe. That's a severe symptom, correct?
Are non-vaccinated people dying at a higher rate? Absolutely. I never said anything to the contrary.
Okay, great. So,
Okay.
so that also, you're saying the symptoms. You're saying there's no evidence that the symptoms are.
We're
are
talking
different.
specifically with the Delta variant, not with previous strains.
I'm
Right?
talking about both.
I'm
Come
assuming.
on. Hold on, we're talking all of them. Are you saying
There was
So
like
I'm
a
talking-
brief,
I'm
are you saying
there was
it's
like a
different? I don't
brief
know.
month.
All right,
There was
let me
like a
jump in here. Let me jump in here.
hold on, there was a
Hey,
brief.
there's like 30 people talking. All right, listen.
Yeah.
All right, the Delta variant is like most new cases in America are the Delta variant. You can look at all of the scientific literature and it suggests that. So when I'm talking, I'm not talking about previous strains and previous data related to those strains. I'm talking about the outcomes that seem to be happening with the Delta variant.
But I am. And that's the
Okay.
issue. Is when you look at the just recently published data, this came out like 3 days ago. The recently published data
hasn't
shows
come
that
out
the
yet.
average it has, because they published it, and I've got the data. I can send it to you if you want it. The issue is, a perfect example is Israel. They have the highest recorded vaccination rate in the world. They have such a high rate; it's exceeded 100%. And the issue is
I have that study.
the last data set released by the Israeli Ministry of Health. They reported
Yes.
that 85%, upwards of 85% of all people hospitalized for COVID with severe symptoms or critical state symptoms in patients have been COVID vaccinated. So
Yeah,
Hold on,
because they
before you
have
say that,
most of their
not the
population.
Delta
That makes
variant.
They
sense
have
if there's
most
only
of their
Prime.
population
Hold on,
vaccinated.
before you say that, Fallen Order,
Wait,
can you
there's
post
a-
that? Can
there's
you just
some-
post that? Can you just post that?
Yeah.
There's some
Send it to me,
misinformation being
that's
said.
Yeah.
Father,
That's
I have that study.
all
It
I
doesn't
want.
say that.
Okay,
No,
you
wait,
have the study. GSU, you have the study. Can you
Yes,
post the
I
study?
do have it. I have the one that he's referencing for sure. It's in my Discord. We talk about COVID like almost every day. I can post that. It doesn't say
Please
that.
do.
At
But
all.
please. I don't even want. I just want to read it. Okay.
Got you.
We're not even
I
talking about
know-
fuck. Why are we talking about COVID? Can we talk about homeopathic shit? Most of us agree on
Yeah.
that. Okay.
No, hold on. No, I think it's
No.
important to talk about the COVID thing. If he's going to be spreading misinformation.
Yeah,
Like, this is
that's true.
actually
You're
dangerous
less
what you're
likely
doing.
to get COVID if you're vaccinated. So this is fucking
it's not at
retarded
all.
anyways.
You're
Google.
not entirely less likely to get COVID. You're,
You're
less
not.
likely to have you're less likely to have
Well,
symptoms, and you
Wait.
don't.
Y'all should. We should. If we're gonna talk COVID, we should be truthful. Yes, if you get the vaccine, you're far less likely to get COVID. All scientific data
That's
suggests
a big
that.
deal.
Anyone saying anything to the contrary is spreading misinformation. Period.
Not the Delta variant.
Period. The end.
No.
Yes.
Yes. The Delta variant
all,
too.
Not the Delta
all
variant.
scientific data that is
Not the
available
Delta variant.
points to the vaccine having an efficacy
Does it
above
take
that of an unvaccinated person.
does it
There is
take
no research.
does it take account of the testing bias?
Sorry.
Does it take
The
account of the
flu-
testing
the-
bias?
Hold on.
The flu thing, yes.
We
Yes.
got
The
it.
test
We-
the
and-
testing bias. Do you know what the testing bias is, GSU?
Testing. What are you saying? Testing
Just
people
get
that
to
are.
it. Get to it.
So
Just get to
the
it.
the testing bias is the bias against this research that would say that people who don't experience symptoms or experience very few symptoms aren't going to go get tested for COVID.
course
Instead, they're just going to live their lives as normal because they're not
Of
aware
course.
they have it. So there's a natural testing bias against this data,
Of
and
course.
these researchers don't account for the testing bias in any research I've
What do you
seen.
think that doesn't account for? What?
Imagine
this
the
is
level
what-
of pride
this is what-
of just looking
this is-
at research like this, and it's like these researchers haven't accounted for this. I'm sure.
Yeah, hold on,
These
wait,
I
wait,
went
wait,
to
wait,
and
hold
they
on.
don't
These-
account
I mean,
for
I've
it.
read. They have
These,
from what I've read.
these statisticians, they haven't thought of that. Oh wow, yeah, I got that. Like me and my statistics 101 class, like I've got it. But these world class statisticians have not considered any of this. Are you
Well,
serious?
they
Can
didn't
we
write it
actually-
down. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
I
it
want-
stated that they accounted
Sprat.
for testing bias.
Spark, I want to ask you a more specific.
hang on.
Wait. Yeah, oh my God, y'all finna waste time. I want to get at. Okay, so it's true for all diseases that if a significant portion of the population will either not have severe symptoms or appear to be like unaffected by it, that those people aren't going to be a part of the data set that's tested. My question for you is, what do you think this sampling bias is hiding? What truth do you think there really is that's being hidden because this segment of the population is not being accounted for? That's my question.
I think these vaccines aren't extremely effective against the Delta variant. I think what these vaccines do is they take the symptoms that you have for COVID and they minimize them to neutralize them.
That sounds like
and
it's pretty
the idea
effective.
the idea that they're neutralized, it doesn't. I don't think it stops people. I don't think it stops people from getting Delta variant. I don't think it stops people from transmitting Delta variant. It stops people from experiencing the symptoms as harsh to at all. And so they're not going to go get tested to see if they have COVID. They're not gonna look into it at all. They're just gonna keep living their lives, and then it continues going from there.
So wait, you think the vaccine fights COVID, and then those people don't become a part of the data set because they had least effects? What's the damage that's doing though?
From
You're
what-
basically saying you think the vaccine is good, right? What are you saying?
So I think the vaccine does minimize to neutralize symptoms. I do not think it at a high effectiveness it stops people from getting the Delta variant or
you
stops
think
people
it-
from transmitting the Delta variant. I think it minimizes to neutralizes
but
the
what-
symptoms.
What kills people after they get COVID, the Delta variant or not? The symptoms, right?
The
So
symptoms,
if
yes.
you don't want people to die, they should probably get this vaccine. So if they do get it, right, the symptoms aren't as bad, and they don't fucking die. Like this isn't that difficult.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Like, I don't know why you're being so weird about this.
my thought process, and anytime I've talked about COVID, I've always stated go consult with your doctor and go talk to your doctor about it and see what you need to do.
Wait,
I
but-
talked to my doctor, and me and my doctor came to the same conclusion that I should probably wait till it's fully
Yeah, no, we
authorized by the
no,
FDA.
wait.
What a
You have
fucking
you
liar, dude.
wait. You have
I'm not a
certain
liar.
no.
I've talked to my doctor.
You have he has certain conditions that means that you should wait.
I have
Right?
no.
I think I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go.
We're not gonna argue his personally.
There
We're
is
not
no
gonna sit
fucking
here.
way. I
We're
know.
not about to argue his personal health history. Like that's stupid, Mike. Like what are you doing?
I want your
That doesn't
medical
make
records.
sense.
I
Right,
literally worked with immunologists at fucking the University of
This guy-
Minnesota, epidemiologists.
You're saying that
and the
there
Mayo
isn't.
Clinic. There's no way they would not
Why?
recommend this to everybody.
I would disagree with that, Mike. And
This
I
is
help
so
out.
stupid.
Hang on. No. So I'll
There's
rebut
not a
Mike on that one.
demographic of people that
Yeah,
could be
hang on.
that
So
it could
I'll-
be adverse risk. Like what are you?
Okay,
this is-
GSU, we're not making that argument.
I
Hold
will
on,
take on Mike on that one.
GSU, we're not
He said
actually
there's
making.
nobody. He said there's nobody they wouldn't recommend getting the vaccine. He just said that.
not
Nobody.
true.
He said
I don't-
totality.
Yeah,
Hold
he
on,
said-
hold on. Can I
he
ask a
said-
question? Really quickly.
Okay, one at a time. One at a time.
So here's my issue with that, Mike. I actually worked on the project with Argonne to build the supercomputers that were used with the Aurora project, and the supercomputers that were used to compile all the data for the
Not
CDC
again.
and the WHO, as well as and some of the
Sorry.
European partners.
Why is it every story with you sounds like such bullshit?
You can literally Google my name with Argonne, and my contractor ID will pull up. Like,
What's your full name?
Don't. There's no reason to.
I'm
this.
gonna Google it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll send you the
Tell me
link.
your-
But I'll
All right,
send you the Argonne.
send me your full name.
So, yeah, I'll send you the Argonne link. So here's the thing. They've openly said on the meetings that I've sat in on, it depends on what your doctor recommends. There are 5 major risk categories that we calculated and we tracked. 3 of them have like a 99% chance of nothing really critically negative happening to you. But 2 categories have an extremely high likelihood of you dying. They're 20+%.
Wow.
One of them was 20, it was 71, so it's what is it? We'll say 28% likely of dying, and then the other one was like 50% plus. And that one was like extreme pre-existing medical conditions. Sprout may fall into one of those categories. They were like cardiovascular, vascular, etc., immune compromised, and then you have people that were like 50 plus. That was in the 28% category. And so in those 2 categories, I openly recommend they get vaccinated because that's like a 1 in 4 chance of you dying. Or better. And then the other ones, you have a statistical extreme non-likelihood of dying. And for those people, I openly recommend consulting with your doctor. And in all cases, honestly, I openly recommend you consulting with your doctor.
Wait, but even if they have a lower chance of dying, why wouldn't they still get vaccinated to
Because you're
prevent spreading this contagious
Because you're still
disease? Yeah, exactly. So
because you're still contagious. Even if you get
I understand, but you're less contagious if your symptoms aren't as harsh. Right, so it minimizes the risk that they're gonna spread this
you can
disease
be
to
completely
people that
asymptomatic
might die.
And that's been known since the very beginning.
Wait, yeah, you can still get it, right? You can still get it, but you're much less likely to. You can still get it, but you're much less likely to get it in the first place. And if you do get it, you're much less contagious if you have the vaccine.
Having the vaccine does not prevent you from getting it and making you contagious. You
Who
can
brought
still
up vaccines first?
Does
Who was the
it
person that
prevent
brought
you
up the vaccines initially? Raise your
Sprout.
Sprout.
hand. It was Sprout.
Y'all
All right,
think-
cool. Got it, Sprout.
So
Y'all
here-
think the vaccine
Worst thing
doesn't
you've done.
reduce you getting the virus? What? Who are y'all?
Okay, so
Why are you allowed to
so
talk?
let's rein it in,
What
guys.
is this?
CDC
And I
director
gotta say
just
something.
talked
I
about
gotta
that
say
on
something
CNN
about
Live.
bringing up. Hold
Fucking
on, you bring up
ridiculous.
Israel. Israel has had the most successful vaccination campaign in the world, right?
So
Correct.
what
That's why
Israel
it's
did was
damning.
Israel
made the
So
vaccine.
no, that's not why it's damning. Because we know there's still breakthrough cases, correct? So some people are still going to be hospitalized, right? And so it would make sense in a place with the most amount of vaccinated people that you'd have the most amount of breakthrough cases, right?
Well,
If
with
you're
the
just looking at percentages,
well, the percentages range. So people who don't know, the vaccines efficacy rates range right now between the multiple vendors published data
80
and
something,
multiple
84 to
governmental
96,
institutions published
something
data
like that.
between 50 and 64%.
I thought it was
That's
more
the
than that,
efficacy
but-
rate of the vaccines currently reported. Unless
Which
something
ones?
changed past 5 days.
It was.
You're talking about AstraZeneca?
They all fall within that category.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
You've made so
Come
many
on.
claims. You've
Yeah,
made
dude.
so many claims today.
Yeah.
I just
I
need
can
you to
do all-
source every fucking sentence.
Every-
There's no,
Okay?
there's
I don't
no
believe that
science.
I actually don't believe that your hair is even blue and green. I don't fucking believe that for a second. That shit's fake, okay? Like I don't every
That's
single
so
thing you
funny.
say. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, following on,
By the data.
yeah,
You just tell me where
please
you want
do
to drop
because
it.
everywhere.
All right, yeah, everywhere, man. This is amazing knowledge.
You can
honestly.
drop it in StreamYard. You can drop it in
Yeah.
the DMs. You can drop it in Prime's chat.
I'll drop it in VC chat. Does that work for you guys? VC chat. I'll just start compiling.
Yeah,
stuff.
VC chat is fine. Yeah,
Alright, cool.
please.
Connor-
We need all the sources. Thank you, all of them.
Connor, I know you're over there painting your dolls, but what do you think about this?
Oh man. Listen, when it comes to holistic
Oh, my
shit, I think
gosh.
that should be used in fucking or homeopathic shit. That should be used in conjunction with the doctors. The things that I advocate for most, for instance, sports medicine is being used in the military right now. They're teaching Marines how to do yoga and meditation and how to do cupping in order to basically break up areas of inflammation. I actually had a buddy who they did, I think it's a Chinese medicine trick for cupping. And so they actually did cupping and also massage therapy and some chiropractic, but obviously you need to, chiropractic can be a little dicey sometimes. When it comes to COVID, I understand, like, I don't want the government to have the ability to force people to be injected because I think that's just way too much goddamn power to be centralized. That being said, I think the information is pretty clear. So unless like Hillary Clinton and all like the elites in the Bilderberg group like have like some kind of like COVID manipulative thing that it's all going to kill us like 15 years from now in order to save the environment or some fucking nefarious James Bond bullshit, I'm pretty sure you need to get fucking vaccinated. I'm vaccinated, very mild symptoms. My wife was vaccinated, very mild symptoms. If my kid could have been vaccinated, he probably would have been vaccinated by now. And the reason why is because one, based off of all the available information, it significantly reduces symptoms. Two, I know two different kinds of people. I know people who caught COVID and it was fucking nothing. And then I know people who caught COVID, and I actually have a cousin-in-law right now who's on life support, and he's 29 years old and he's slightly overweight. That's his only pre-existing condition, is he's slightly overweight. And pretty sure when he comes back, he's actually going to have, like, if he comes back, number one, because he only has about a 40% chance of surviving. But if he comes back, he's probably going to have permanent organ damage, meaning that his heart isn't going to work the way that it's supposed to. His lungs aren't going to work the way that they're supposed to. And as a result, he's probably going to be disabled for the rest of his life. He previously worked in construction. He has two kids. I think they're both under the age of 5, and he has a wife who doesn't work. So basically, the reason why I'm not engaging in this conversation is because I'm a little bit more Darwinian than everybody. I think if you're fucking too stupid to get the vaccine, then, go fuck yourself. But at the same time, like, basically what's going on is this is affecting real people. And the reason why I'm frustrated with like the right wing kind of like doing the just asking questions when it comes to the COVID vaccine thing is, goddamn well, if Donald Trump was still in the fucking office right now, fucking the COVID vaccine would be the best thing since fucking sliced bread. It would be an achievement comparable to landing on the fucking moon. But because it's administered during the Biden presidency, we have to just ask questions. And that's really fucking frustrating for me.
Okay,
As a matter of fact, I'm
counterpoints.
pretty sure, last point, because I know I'm being fussy. I'm pretty sure that like up until the like election when it was decided for Biden, Trump was still touting the vaccine as one of his greatest achievements.
Operation Warp Speed, yeah. It's great.
Okay, counterpoints.
fuck?
Even if Trump was president right now, I still wouldn't have the vaccine right now.
Okay,
Even,
this
well,
is
then
where
even if it's
Connor and
asking
I-
questions.
This is one of those places where Connor and I diverge because I would support tying you to a bed and injecting the vaccine, 100%.
Okay,
honestly,
wait,
NPC about this.
Doobie,
Full NPC.
against my doctor's will.
I find it very difficult to believe that your doctor said that. If you have some
Doctor's one doctor,
if
by
you
the way.
have some disease, right, that prevents you from getting the vaccine, makes it unsafe for you, sure, maybe, but I think you should still be quarantined because you walking around is at risk to everybody you interact with.
Can I also want to point this out because hold on. So this is very important. I don't know. I can't even think of a situation in which getting the vaccine would not be recommended by a doctor. My
There
wife,
isn't.
or not my wife. Hold on. You can answer the question in a second. My mother literally has fucking blood cancer, and because of chemo, she has almost no immune system. They still were confident enough in order to give her the fucking vaccine despite not having that strong of an immune system. And I think the primary concern would be like almost like a breakthrough infection, or the symptoms would be so severe. She still got the fucking vaccine. She's 65 years old, and sometimes she can barely walk, and she's strong enough to get the fucking vaccine and survive. So what are the conditions in which the vaccine is not recommended?
The vaccine can worsen certain medical conditions. Do you understand
Which
that?
ones?
Yeah. I
Heart
wanna hear.
conditions,
I
cardiovascular
will-
issues,
No,
vascular
bullshit.
issues.
Compared to
I'll pull out a
COVID,
list.
hold the fuck up, because this is important. So like what I just heard was COVID could reduce heart conditions. This is true, right? Because COVID vaccines or whatever.
Wait,
hold on,
no,
hold on,
let's-
GSU, hold on, please.
No, this
I
is
will
so
get there.
simple. Look,
No,
we
I
read
will
the
get there.
fucking
I
CDC.
will get there.
One at a time. Connor,
Get
go.
there.
He
GSU
asked the
can
question.
talk-
I'm trying to get
Oh my
my
God, Connor.
I
Go.
will get there, GSU. Okay, and I know what you're talking about because basically with the vaccine,
No, you don't.
There's
No, you
something.
don't.
Yes, mother, I do. God damn it, I have eyeballs.
Motherfucker, I
Asked
do.
the question, then you said, "I know what you're talking about." You asked the
Hold on.
question,
So
"Who
let
should
me
not get
finish my fucking
vaccinated?"
sentence,
It's on the
GSU.
fucking CDC.
Let
You
me
don't need
finish
to
the
go
sentence.
to the CDC website. Stop being a
Let
dumb
me
fuck.
finish
If
the
you want to know
sentence.
who should get vaccinated,
You're
go
probably
to the
gonna agree.
CDC site.
You're gonna agree. Shut the fuck up. God damn it. No, I'm not. Shut the fuck up.
Okay, all right, knock it off. Just Connor, finish your point.
Okay, so with the fucking vaccine, there's been some people who have had the fucking vaccine that's shown some level of fucking heart inflammation and fucking white blood cell fucking activation after the vaccine. Do you know where else they see that fucking symptom? With COVID. With the fucking disease that's a billion times worse. So if you're having a mild negative reaction to the fucking vaccine, then chances are the disease would fucking kill you. So I fundamentally reject, like, if you want to come up with a different disease or symptom
So
that would like
fucking stupid.
basically prevent you from getting the vaccine, I am happy to hear it, but I fundamentally reject heart inflammation or lung inflammation, because basically if the vaccine does it to you, you can goddamn guarantee the fucking disease is going to do it worse.
Okay, so here's mild to moderate problems according to. So here's the mild to moderate problems, right? It's mild rash lasting 2 to 4 days, swelling,
no.
tenderness of lymph nodes lasting 2 to 4 weeks after blister is healed, fever of over 100 or 102 regarding adults and children, secondary blisters everywhere on body, serious eye infection or loss of vision due to spread of vaccine virus to the eye, rash on entire body, severe rash on people with eczema, encephalitis, which can lead to permanent brain damage, severe infection beginning at the vaccination site, and death. One of those applies directly towards me. I'll let you guys take a guess, but one of those applies directly towards me, which is why the doctor has said to wait for it to be fully approved by the FDA, because then there's more studies released on that vaccination in which my doctor can research more on what that certain vaccination has risks of, and we can talk about it then. And odds are probably I'll get it once it's fully approved by the FDA and the research is released.
Okay,
Like,
you're consulting with your doctor.
I have a
think we all
question.
agree.
No, Mike says there's no reason why anyone would not get the vaccine at this moment in time.
There's no reason a doctor would recommend it. It's total bullshit unless you're like 2 years old.
I have a question.
Mike,
Does
you are
anybody
so
have any issue?
disingenuous.
Wait, but
Yes.
Spartacus, even if that were the case, right?
Oh my
So
God,
you're
I'm
some
fucking
special case where you get in the vaccine like
Yeah.
kill you or some shit, right?
Yes.
Why would you be on here saying that other people shouldn't get the vaccine and that other people should question the
I've
vaccine? and
always said consult with your doctor. That's what I've
Okay.
always said.
So you
And I've gotten
think the vast
shit-
majority of people should get the
Doobie,
vaccine?
No, Doobie, stop. I've gotten shit on every panel I've gone on for saying consult with your fucking doctor. I don't want to hear this anymore. It's been my advice the entire time. Consult with your fucking doctor.
Okay.
Didn't know
So
homeopathy would get everybody so upset.
so if doctors
Oh, it's so
recommend
funny.
the vast majority of people get this vaccine, you think they should do it? And
Yes.
so I'm going like a step further. Do you think they should be
Obviously.
forced to do it if it's not there's
No.
not some kind of special risk case like you have?
If your doctor recommends, if your doctor that knows your medical history and looks at your medical history and looks at the vaccine and they recommend that you get the vaccine, I think that you should get the vaccine. I do not think you should be
Okay.
forced to get the vaccine. I don't think a medical procedure should be forced on anybody.
Do you think there should be like so let's say we're not doing my thing, which is tying you to a bed and giving you the vaccine, right? Which I'd be totally okay with. But let's say that there are other penalties, like you don't get to go to public
The fucking
public
Doobie
buildings,
and
like,
Sprout panel,
or you don't
everybody.
get to go into like
Motherfucking Doobie and
I
Sprout
don't know,
panel.
stadiums and shit. You don't get to go places where there are lots of people. Would you be okay with that? To have like a vaccine card?
How would you enforce that?
Well, you could
Security checks.
issue a card, right, to people, just like a license.
Show me your
right,
papers.
that shows, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That
voter ID
shows-
laws are so racist now,
Exactly.
aren't
Yeah.
they?
Exactly. You
Well, I'm
fucking
not. I'm not
fascist.
for voter ID laws. But I'm
Exactly.
for voter ID laws. So you
Oh,
can
you are.
issue some kind of card, right? That tells you whether or not this person is fully vaccinated. Like, I don't think that's that difficult for people to do. So, given that you think that the vast majority of the people should probably get this thing, why would it be a bad thing, right, for people not to be allowed into public venues where they would be a risk to other people if they're unvaccinated?
Well, odds are that you're talking about vaccinated people and protecting vaccinated people, in which we've already talked about that these vaccinated people are going to have little to no symptom whatsoever probability with the vaccine. Correct? I've already said that that's probably what the vaccine does, and that's why I was talking about testing bias, right?
Yeah, but you're much more contagious as an unvaccinated person, right? So,
I
like,
thought they said that.
why should we allow you into these places? Why should you be able to go into
Well,
public
you're much more
buildings and
likely to
spread your
catch
virus?
it.
You're much more contagious if you're unvaccinated.
Where's the study for that?
You're not more
Oh,
contagious.
okay.
There's a UK study that shows
Yeah,
that. I could
there
link
is.
it.
I would like
not.
to see. I'd like to see a study
There's not.
that's more contagious, because I don't even know how that would be studied. But
It's not.
Okay,
more
so
It's
before
not
we
studied, I know.
before we
Viral
share the
load.
study, so if it is a case that a person who is unvaccinated is more contagious than a person that is not unvaccinated, then would you support the idea that these people should be given vaccine cards, right, to show their vaccine status, and if they're not vaccinated, they shouldn't be let into public venues?
No, I don't think you should restrict
Then why
someone
does it
from a
fucking
public
matter? You
venue.
don't care about whether or not they're more contagious or not. You don't care about that at all. You care about some other thing.
No, what I care about is freedom, and
Oh,
not
freedom.
being not a medical procedure being forced on anybody, or you can't go out in public unless you have this medical procedure. No,
Your
I
freedom to
disagree
go
with that
around infecting
wholeheartedly.
people. Okay, that's
So,
great.
Yeah, that's not that is
Oh,
that's
your
a
freedom
complete
to be infected,
disingenuous
I guess.
take on what
This is
I
why
said.
you should be. This is
That's
why
a
you should be
complete
quarantined. This is why you should be quarantined. I don't know.
GSU, go.
It's just so much stupid shit. Like, so first off, like, if you go look up why the CDC changed their policy on who should wear a mask, it's because if you look at the scientific data, the viral load of people who are vaccinated but contract the vaccine is still contagious and dangerous, can be spread to others. So there's no logic behind treating a vaccinated and a unvaccinated person differently. Both of them can spread the virus. Usually this is not true when people get a vaccine, which is why initially they were revoking the mask mandates. But after the Delta variant, and testing showed that people who are vaccinated can spread the virus, and you can go look all of this up, then that's why they reinstated that people should be wearing masks and people should be in smaller groups and people should wash hands and all of this stuff. So because of that, regardless of your vaccine mandate, people would still have to wear masks, wash hands, and do things like they do now, which is the same thing that you would prescribe for an unvaccinated person or non-vaccinated person. So the treatment that you would give a vaccinated and an unvaccinated person is the mask mandates, is gathering in smaller groups, is washing hands consistently, blah, 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 which is why the whole idea of a vaccine passport makes absolutely no sense.
Okay, what stupid shit did I say, GSU?
So there's a plethora of cases where your personal history could be such that you're not recommended to get the vaccine. My uncle has Parkinson's, and he was recommended. He has a whole bunch of stuff. That's just the one that I know about the most. But he was recommended not get the vaccine. There was also one of my friends was pregnant. Her doctor said, "Hey, maybe you should wait a little bit." So, like, the idea that every doctor in our country is saying, "Go get the vaccine," to every individual is silly. And then we also have kids, Doobie. So would you advocate that the kids that can spread the vaccine, which also can't get the vaccine, should they be exiled as well because they're going to be unvaccinated?
Before you do that, did you send us the source on the viral load thing? Because I'm looking at a different source that says literally. Because I'm looking at a different source right now. Sorry, that says literally the exact opposite of what you're saying. I'm looking at an article right now saying the exact opposite. So if you have something that's more updated,
Yes,
then I like to see it, of
absolutely.
course. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's,
Okay,
right.
so
While that happens, I'd like to note one of the most recent releases from CDC, which is August 6, 2021, labels what I saw as a concern with studies as a limitation. Let me see. I had it just a second ago. Let me control F it real quick. There we go. It says second, asymptomatic breakthrough infections might be underrepresented because of detection bias. That they label it as a limitation in their own study, as they don't know how many people are not getting tested and have it because of a detection bias.
Yeah, and the detection bias is typically going to be based on the population and infection rate and impact rate, which again, the bottom three categories represent 70% of the population.
I apologize. I was distracted. Could you repeat that, Spartacus, one more time, please?
Yeah, so what I was saying about testing bias, they labeled it something else. But the CDC's most recent report labeled the second limitation to their study was asymptomatic breakthrough infections might be underrepresented because of detection bias.
Yeah, so there might be more people who are infected. Isn't that what you just said?
Yeah, that was my original claim, and people were questioning on that claim. So that's what I was talking about. Was that the claim I originally had with the detection bias or the testing bias is what I called it, is the CDC in their most. They don't account for it. It's a limitation. They don't account for it. It's a limitation.
No. They know. Hold on. It's not like they don't know this is a possibility, right? These statisticians are literally telling you
they can't get the numbers.
But does that
There's
mean
no
that the
way in
numbers
hell
that
they're
we
getting the
do have?
numbers?
But does that mean the numbers that we do have are bad numbers and numbers that we can't actually design policy around? Because literally for any for any statistics when we're dealing with human population, right, where we can't, like, they're not like oranges, right? Like a collection of oranges. You can count the oranges, you can measure the oranges, right? They're people who live in disparate areas, who have different agendas, who reveal different amounts of information. All that stuff has limitations as to how you can collect data. That exists for all of it, for like any bit of health data. So does that mean that all that health data is unusable because we can't perfectly measure everything? Is that what you believe?
No, but most statisticians will put a plus and minus. There's not a plus and minus in these studies that I've seen. And so because you can't realistically come up with a realistic plus or minus because you don't know. There's no way in hell to tell how many people are vaccinated and just get this asymptomatically.
Okay. Great. All
right. Compiling data points.
That's why they put it in the studies a limitation, right? There's a limitation in their study.
And they keep but they are aware of this and they're keeping track of it. No, but what you're trying to do is validate those numbers.
I'm not trying to question.
Oh, okay. Well, why are you questioning the numbers? What's the point of questioning the numbers? The questioning
because that's what science is all about, is questioning the current data.
Yes, you're doing science. This is you doing science.
This is
exactly what science looks like. Yes, this is.
Am I not allowed to question the data based off a limitation the CDC even said they had?
Oh my God! All right, like I've said
the CDC recognized they had this limitation.
I literally just said that. That's the words that came out of my mouth.
Why can't I question that the number might be a lot bigger than what CDC is reporting because of this limitation they even recognize they have?
Science, everybody.
Can I read something to you?
Whatever. No. Hold on. Stig, go ahead first.
Wait, I should have. I regret not diving deeper into the whole what was it? Chemo is part of stem cell research is part of homeopathy thing. Can we just go back to that? Just pretend like everything between when I asked him that and now it just didn't happen. You just pretend that, and I just say, so Fallenor, what, like, your full definition of homeopathic medicine just seems to be like anything that like a natural that just goes into the human body, and that's just kind of, and that rebuilds.
Specifically anything that is a natural process. So, like, say for instance, if you go and you like chomp down on some Tylenol, that's not a natural process. But if it's something like, say for instance, it's something your body naturally does. Like, say for instance, I get sick and my white blood cells naturally attack the thing that makes me sick. That is a natural process. Like, say, for instance, regeneration of the body by the replacement of cells that are defective or damaged or dead through the process of stem cell replication is a natural process.
So
But
does it
say,
have
for instance-
any?
So, like, say,
So
for
that's-
instance, where you're seeing is like for stem cells, there may be some confusion here. The process of lab generation of additional stem cells through a non-natural or a synthetic process of stem cell replication in a lab, that is a non-homeopathic practice. But then the injection of a human being with those stem cells that then conduct the process
What's
of
up, Froggy
natural
Face?
cell
How you doing?
regeneration, replication, and or replacement, that is a homeopathic process. So there's actually a practice of both non-homeopathic and homeopathic in that treatment.
When we're talking about homeopathic
I
medicine,
probably would
I'm
have been
under the
better off
impression that
just
we're
being
talking
on
about
my
things like
own
the
panel
homeopathic
with
remedies, you know, made through
minimum
like a
wage.
homeopathic dilution and all that stuff, right? Like
Well,
diluting a whole bunch of things with water and all that sort of thing. Like,
Yeah,
do you
that's
think that fall?
homeopathic.
Hold on.
Or
Okay, so
some.
follow. Do you believe that stuff like that works?
No.
So for some things, like say for instance, if you
Uh-huh.
go out and you eat willow bark, that is a homeopathic process, and it will help you with a fever.
Willow bark will
Isn't
help.
homeopathic just dilution of something to like a severe amount?
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
say for instance, willow bark used to be the natural application of the homeopathic application of what is modern day Tylenol and or aspirin. It's an anti-inflammatory, anti-fever.
Yeah,
Natural.
but we're talking like one drop in like a part, like 1 to 1/10,000th or something like that, or like 100,000ths of.
No, that would be a
You know.
particular like homeopathic
what that has to
remedy.
do
So
with
like say
That's
for
anything.
instance,
that's what I thought this whole
say
thing
for
was
instance,
about.
if you like took
No.
Knight's Bane and used it for a sleeping
It has
medication,
nothing to do with that.
you could do that if you heavily diluted it with water. But if you took too much, it could kill you. But you can use Nightbane for sleeping, and it has been historically used as an apothecaric application or homeopathic practice for thousands of years.
Okay, we're gonna get back to this. No, GSU, go ahead.
Yeah, so I posted a link that basically from the CDC site. I can read it again.
Mhm.
If you go to the link that I posted, go to the section about fully vaccinated people with the thing. It says, in contrast, the Delta variant seems to produce the same high amount of virus in both unvaccinated and vaccinated people. This is the viral load, right? However, unlike other variants, the amount of the virus produced by Delta breakthrough infections in fully vaccinated people also goes down faster than infections in unvaccinated people. This means that like it goes down faster, right? Like I hope everybody understands that. This means fully vaccinated people are likely infectious for less time than unvaccinated people. So it is true that potentially the window to spread it contagiously is smaller, but it is absolutely true that the viral load of a vaccinated person who contracts this is very high and they can spread it. So
Okay,
it's
so
misinformation to say anything.
So I
inside of
actually
that.
did look at your link, and what I did is I
And-
clicked on the reference where that paragraph is referencing. I've actually clicked on that study. At the very top, it says, this article is a preprint, has not been peer reviewed. What does that mean? It reports new medical research and has yet to be evaluated and should not be used to guide clinical practice. When they say seems, they mean seems. I'm like, maybe, possibly, it could be, but we don't actually know. That's why they say seems. At the very top, it says that.
Okay. Do you think that the CDC would follow this? So they're saying seems because all of this stuff isn't completed, right? But what we have to also look at is their guidance, given the amount of things that they've recorded in the trial, well, not trials, but in the studies that they've done, right? So they have changed, and a lot of Democrats and Republicans are mad about this. They've changed to advising people to wear a mask. Why do you think they did that? Do you think they were bored? Do you think that the data wasn't suggestive that vaccinated and unvaccinated people should be wearing a mask to slow the transmission of the disease?
You know, yeah, you can transmit the disease. We were just talking about the viral load. I think yes, you should be. I wear a mask. I'm vaccinated, and I wear a mask wherever I go. Right. And you should wear a mask. But we're just talking about the viral load. That's a separate thing.
Wait, why do you think you're wearing the mask when you're vaccinated?
Because you can still transmit. You're just talking about
what do you think being able to transmit it means? That's the viral load
so
inside
funny.
of your
that does yes
chest cavity and mouth, and the ability to spread it to others.
Viral load doesn't mean that you can't spread it at all. correct? Decreased viral load doesn't mean no viral load, right?
Correct.
I
But
never
hang on.
I
but
never
it-
said that.
Hang on. All right. So you're
Right.
actually onto a good point there, Prime. But what you're looking for is called critical viral load, which is the actual point where your viral load is actually high enough to be contagious.
And I don't see anything unless I'm missing it. If I'm missing it, then that's cool. But is there anything on this page that talks about the critical viral load? If I'm missing it, then I apologize.
Okay, the article suggests that it seems like from their studies, which I hope we know that this isn't approved yet. So everything is studies right now, and it's all extrapolations from the studies. From the studies, it seems to them that vaccinated people still have the same high amount of virus in both unvaccinated and fully vaccinated people. And because of that, they're prescribing that everyone should wear a mask. So if you disagree with what it seems like to the FDC, because CDC, but just because it seems, they're looking at the studies and they're extrapolating from all of the data that's available to them. I don't understand why we would say we should trust this CDC.
Hold on.
Then when they say something that seems
Literally,
to
no, that's not what's happening. Literally, the only point that I was making, right, is the point talking about the point that you were making in terms of the viral load, and to saying you're saying that this is actually fact, and it's stupid to question otherwise about that viral load. This is based, from what I can see, off of one study, and that study at the top tells, or at least the publishing website says that it should not be used to guide clinical practice one way or the other, right? So to say that it makes no sense, right? To think that
so you think they don't have strong confidence?
I'm literally looking at I'll have to get it. This is my phone. There's another study. I just looked that up, right? And talking about another study says it seems that you have decreased viral load when you're vaccinated. So I'll have to get that sent to you.
No, can I back you up on that?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, GSU, even in the citation that you just said, didn't it say that people who were vaccinated basically spiked in viral load and then went back down pretty quickly, or faster than people who were unvaccinated?
Saying that they are infectious for a smaller period of time means absolutely nothing when it comes to should people wear a mask.
Sure, and I basically agree with the conception that you should. I don't even think Prime was arguing that you shouldn't wear a mask. I don't think he did. So I don't even know what we're really contending with here, because ultimately, like, here's the thing. So I was asking for examples of times where you shouldn't get vaccinated. You brought some up that actually doctors were consulting with the members of your family and said, don't get vaccinated. Sproutica said that he's consulted with his doctor and he said, not at this time, right? We're going to wait it out. We're going to figure it out. Awesome. You're consulting with your doctors. I'm not a fucking doctor. I didn't go to 8 years of medical school. All right. So that's awesome. That's based. I'm happy y'all are doing that. But what we're saying as a general rule, I think the reason why everybody got so pissy like 5 to 10 minutes ago is because oftentimes people will use the exceptions in order to like make broad statements about
always
what
everybody's being cringe.
And I think the reason why
what's this
Mike
link here?
and Sig and myself are maybe like a little bit jumpy right now is because we think that by and large the exceptions exist, but the rule should be go get your ass vaxxed.
Well,
like,
but do you think a better way to say that is to say exactly what you just said instead of the stupid shit Mike said, where everyone should go get it and there's no doctor that would prescribe differently? You see how being that hyperbolic and silly doesn't add to a conversation, and it's just silly ass shit.
Doobie just suggested. Okay.
All right, go ahead, buddy. Sorry.
Okay, Doobie just suggest, and like I want to let you know, like you talk about people being jumpy and stuff like that. Doobie just suggested that I be socially ostracized because my doctor suggested I don't get the vaccine.
That's not
yet.
true. I said you should be quarantined. That's a different thing. Right. And if
Also,
you're talking about the
socially
vaccine
right?
passports, no, that's keeping you out of places where you could be a danger to other people.
You said keep them out of public.
I'm assuming you're a person that doesn't want to kill other people.
Oh, okay.
You never actually
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Doobie,
but no, wait, Jesse, wait, listen. But if it is the case that unvaccinated people are more contagious than vaccinated people, then if you're a person that doesn't want to kill other people, kill old people, kill children,
doesn't matter. I
can't imagine a situation in which you wouldn't agree with vaccine passport.
Oh damn! I gotta kill
I should be socially ostracized because
that's not
my medical conditions.
That is not what that is.
Oh please, God, let me ask a question.
No, I want to first. I asked the question earlier. He never answered. So Doobie, kids right now are not advised to be vaccinated. Are you saying that they should be exiled too? Because they're a
Why do you
risk.
say exile?
Absolutely.
Where's the?
Because
Okay,
that's
the
what
wording
you're
you're using,
advocating for.
you're exiled
I don't
because
really
you can't
see
go
what
to
this
public
is
what you're
saying
venues.
here.
advocating for.
No, you're a danger to other people, so you shouldn't be around other
Okay,
people. I
no,
don't understand why that's so difficult.
Kids are a danger to other
Including
people.
By that
if
logic,
children,
No,
if what you're saying is true,
Oh my
given
gosh,
there's
they're
a
all over
ton
the
of other
place.
shit.
No,
Wait 1 second.
no,
There's a ton of
it's
other
not
shit.
when I say it.
Oh
Do
my
you
god!
think
Listen,
kids
no,
can
listen,
do
listen,
you think
listen.
kids can transmit
Oh
COVID?
my
Yes or
god!
no?
Yes.
Yes or no? Okay.
Yes.
Do you can kids be vaccinated? Yes or no?
I don't. I'm not sure.
No.
Now,
The answer is
I'm
no.
sorry.
So,
No.
okay.
Wait 1
So
second.
since
Wait,
kids can't be vaccinated and they can spread it, should they not be allowed in public?
They should not be allowed into public venues where they could be a danger to other people. I don't understand why that's controversial to you.
Okay. So kids, the immunocompromised, and the people that decide to whatever do to their
I
own
don't know why
volition,
everybody's
all
freaking out
those
about
people
this so
shouldn't be allowed in
badly to
public.
begin
Okay.
with.
Yeah,
It's like,
They should not be allowed in
be
places where
socially
they're a
literally,
danger
it's
to other
80%
people.
of the people
That's
that
the
honestly
thing,
have
they
major
should be
complications are
They should
fucking
be-
super
they should be-
special.
they should be-
Gives them a
They should
pass,
be
but
publicly
yeah,
Like,
exiled.
it's
Here's-
bad,
hang on,
but it's
public
like not that
exile
bad,
should be-
really.
So
Yes,
here's a great counterpoint
Fucking
to that.
dumb.
What about the people who have gotten vaccinated that are still a carrier? You're
my
saying
computer's
that
not
even
letting me
people that are
open certain
vaccinated can't be
things.
allowed in
Pissing me
public
off.
because they're still a danger to other people because they themselves are still carriers even though they've been vaccinated because they can
All
still infect other
people-
people. So like
All
you're
all
that-
saying
people
if
that-
without a
they get
mask.
vaccinated.
no. But by your own logic and by your own practice of your own rules, you're literally saying no one can go in public.
That is not what I'm saying. What?
That's
No,
literally-
that is not what I'm saying. right? So-
You're suggesting someone's
okay, listen,
someone's a risk
this
to
is I
someone
don't know
else's
why this
health,
is so
and so they
difficult for you
shouldn't be
guys to
in
follow
public.
along. So
Sprout,
People who are
he can't
vaccinated
follow.
transmit the virus as well.
Go ahead. Go
Hey,
ahead. Doobie.
Eleanor, if you were vaccinated and you were one of the rare vaccinated people that gets this thing anyway, then yeah, you should not be out in
don't-
public. You should
You
quarantine
don't know
yourself.
that until you get
Yeah,
it.
they tell you to quarantine.
Yeah,
You
why
don't know until you
is
get
that
it.
like is that surprising to you that I'd say that you should quarantine if you have COVID? Of course you should.
No, it's because you were using risk and now you're using having the disease. And those are incongruent things. That's what Sprout is
but
trying to
that's
get you to
the
see.
issue, is like,
but
but I
you're
actually-
absolutely stupid.
But I actually
Could
just
it
provided
be
y'all.
that there's two reasons why people should?
Well, no,
be-
I quarantined when my wife had COVID. I didn't know if I had COVID or not. I quarantined, and and to be 100% honest, and to be just blatantly honest here, I about missed my grandpa's funeral because I was quarantined. Okay, so
Okay,
here's
can
the thing. So it's just because having COVID and the possibility of having COVID, both aren't quarantinable. They're both not quarantinable. Doobie, what you're suggesting is public exhalation against anyone who is a risk to anyone else's health. That means anyone who could get sick, who could pose a risk to someone else's health, should be publicly exiled until it's decided that they are no longer a risk to someone else's health.
Okay, seriously, I have a question and I need to ask it. Sprout, so you're saying that you're one of the folks that basically your doctor is not recommending getting vaccinated at this time.
Yes.
So are you going into public places? Are you wearing a mask when you do go into public places?
I'm wearing a mask when I go into public places, such as the grocery store, yes.
Okay. All right, cool. I just want to make sure that we have some level of fucking consistency here. Because GSU, I'm pretty sure, your doctor who's recommending that your uncle doesn't fucking get the vaccine is going to recommend that your uncle either stays home or basically wears a mask whenever he goes in public and tries to reduce his level of public. The thing that's not following for me here is like, I understand there can be exceptions and that's totally fine. I'm actually really happy to have nuanced conversations about exceptions. Is what I do all the time. What frustrates me is just like, basically like we need to acknowledge that one, this is a deadly disease. Two, most people should get vaccinated. Three, that there's advantages to getting vaccinated, like having like reduced sick times and reduced symptoms. And four, there might be a few exceptions for getting the vaccine, but realistically, most people are better off with it than without it. That should be, even from your perspective, those statements should be made.
Can I respond to something? Counterpoints real quick. So, I mean, this has not been the first panel people have gone after me for having a medical condition that prevents me from getting the COVID vaccine now. The doctor said, in all probability, once a vaccine is fully authorized by the FDA, that he will probably recommend it. But at this point in time, it's better for me to not take that risk until he gets a better view at these vaccines, considering my age, and considering my risk factor, right? So, anyways, he's taking all that into consideration. Now, probably once Pfizer becomes fully authorized by the FDA, you'll see me get vaccinated. And you know what? I will tag every motherfucking one of you that wants to be tagged when I get vaccine, holding up my vaccine paperwork, okay? I'll blur out my vaccine paperwork, and I will tag every fucking one of you if that's what you want.
Oh, please
But
do.
Sprout, we can do it together because that's
Okay.
the same one I'm waiting on. Is
That
the
fucking
Pfizer
works.
one? I'm waiting for full approval, and that's the thing. It's like most people, let me phrase that. I don't want to say most people. I don't want to be generalizing, but people like Sprout and myself, and I think me and you are on the same page here. My issue is it comes down to risk assessment, which is based on what I currently understand, based on the current data, statistics, and data sets that I've seen, which is a lot, unfortunately. My risk factor from the COVID is like 0.0001% chance of dying.
No, it's 0.002.
No, that's what my current one is. I don't know about everybody else's, but mine is 0.0001. That's mine. And then from what I understand, from everything I've read and everything I've seen and my medical history, my risk factor from dying from the vaccine is like 1.7%. These are basic math problems to me. This is why I'm.
What the fuck did you just say? Did you just say that you had a 2% chance of dying from the goddamn vaccine?
Based on my heart history and my family's heart history and my vascular history,
But
yes.
COVID, you're
All
hold
right.
the fuck up.
Counterpoint.
No.
He's right. Yeah, just say he's right. Just tell him he's right.
How the fuck
Oh
can
my
a
God, this is
minimized
ridiculous.
version of the disease give you a fucking higher chance of killing you than the fucking disease itself? Can you riddle me that while I'm fucking gone? Because frankly, I don't want to have a fucking
Get him,
aneurysm.
Connor,
So I'm
get
gonna
him.
go get some water. I'll be right back. Holy shit.
But it's not but it's mRNA, right? It's not like a minimized version of the.
The Johnson & Johnson might be the dead
it's the
virus,
live
but I
load.
don't know.
Yeah.
I can't
And
remember.
that's the data that I'm waiting on.
But the mRNA
Johnson
is
and Johnson
like
is not mRNA. Pfizer
No, it's
and
not. It's live load. J&J is live
Pfizer.
load.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
just want the other one.
Okay. Anyway, I'll play.
Moderna, I think it is.
One second. So Felon,
What is
given that
blocking
you
my fucking stage chat?
so that you can't get this, it's not safe for you to get the vaccine right now. And I like a Sprouticus, I'm assuming you're a person that doesn't want to kill other people, right? So I'm assuming you've been quarantined this entire time, not going out in public unless you absolutely need to.
I'm either quarantined or I wear a mask.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't just run around
you actively try not to go out in public, right? So if there's a way to get around going out in public around people, you don't do it, right?
Typically, I don't like going around people.
Okay.
I'm usually in my car somewhere.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. But yeah, for me, it's about having the data. Because here's my issue and my concern. If something happens to me and I die, a lot of people, not just me and my family, but
Pull
a
out
lot
the
of other
flu card? What do
families
you
are
mean? What do
negatively
you mean pull out the
impacted
flu card?
severely. And that's a bad thing.
How
It's not just going to hurt me.
It's just
if
a
I die.
bad
It's gonna hurt
flu? Is
lot
that
of
what you
people.
mean, or what do you
And
mean?
so I have to take that into consideration. And dying is a very bad thing. I mean, I don't think anybody can argue that
I
dying
need,
is not a
reset my
bad thing.
computer.
Hey, wait.
What is
But
else
what
is
else
bad?
I
But
feel
what
like-
else is
No.
bad? Hold on.
Oh, okay.
The COVID doesn't just kill people. We understand this, right? That it actually hurts people, like scars them, and maybe they're having disabilities for life.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a thing that also happens, right?
Yeah,
At a
I'm
greater
aware of
rate
the
than dying.
capacity, the sterility, and the other issues. That is correct. I'm well aware of those problems. The issue is dying itself is the symptom I'm concerned with.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm not against getting vaccinated. I've been vaccinated for dozens of things, from anthrax to fucking like tester fucking system boosters. Like I've had all kinds of crazy things: smallpox, polio, several viruses from overseas. Me and Sprouticus both have. We both received the same, probably experimental level vaccinations in the military. I'm not against vaccines. I'm specifically against vaccines that have not been fully vetted. And that's my concern, is these have been rushed through because it was an emergency.
It wasn't rushed through.
It wasn't
The
rushed through.
development
We can't
was not
say
rushed.
that.
It wasn't
Don't
rushed
say
through.
If it was rushed through, it would be approved right now. There's an
10-year
incredible amount of
process.
pressure.
So it wasn't
No,
rushed
it-
through.
it
It was
wasn't
given.
rushed.
It was given. So it wasn't rushed through. It was given emergency use authorization. If it was approved at the same time it was given emergency use authorization, you have a reason to say it was rushed through. But it was
Exactly.
given emergency use authorization because it met the requirements to be given emergency use authorization. It
Okay,
doesn't,
yes.
as of right now, it doesn't meet the requirements to be fully approved by the FDA.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what
Alright,
I'm
great,
waiting on.
great,
I want
great,
something
great.
fully approved.
100%. Awesome. This has been wonderful. I didn't come here to talk about COVID. I honestly did not. Not.
You knew
not,
what this was gonna do.
No, I didn't. I actually didn't want to.
I'm
talk
playing. I'm playing. I'm playing.
Yeah.
I'm playing.
All right.
Lying.
So Sig, are you happy you came back?
Yeah, I'm fucking fantastically happy. Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, from the frying pan into the fire.
Yeah, let's turn to a less problematic topic. Yeah.
Wait, can I say one? Can I say one thing before we move on, Brian?
Very quickly.
It's gonna be controversial.
Oh, so don't say it. Don't say it then at the very fucking end. Don't do that.
No, it's just a. All right, no, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
All right.
Closed panel. I mean, open panel or after panel.
All right. Oh boy. Oh boy. To my audience, if you're enjoying this content, hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on, so you know I'm going live. We do 6 days a week. We have these discussions. Don't want you to miss out. Hit us up on social media. !social. In chats. Follow us on Twitter. Jump into the Discord. I can't spell the word social apparently. Hold on. I'll work it out.
I'll beat you to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Follow us on Twitter. Jump to our Discord, which is where we do everything in this community, right? Having conversations there all the time. And follow us on YouTube, right? Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like and comment. That's how we grow this platform, right? So help us out there as well. Okay. All right. And I'm going to remind my audience one more time, because they're going to pretend like I didn't say this, is that when we started putting this together, we had a completely different lineup of individuals. Those individuals left, right? For different reasons, all for different reasons. And they're not here. And so I really would like them to have been here for this next topic, but it is what it is, right? People tell me that I should design my panels like around the guests, right? It's like, oh, we got this person here. Well, then have this question for them, right? Because that's their interest. Here's the thing: people cancel all the goddamn time. It's literally impossible to do that. It's impossible to do that. I'm telling you, if you haven't done this before, you don't know. If you haven't been part of these panels and seen people like the exchange of individuals, you don't know. It's fucking impossible. Here we go. All right. Topic 2. California has instituted a system where transgender/non-binary inmates will be able to transfer to prisons that affirm their gender identity. Does this make sense? Should prisoners be separated by gender or sex? If they should be separated by sex, then what do we say to women who are incarcerated who've been victimized by men? Is there a third solution? All right, there it is. We'll all do. Just put your hand up. It's introductions. All right. Here we go. Sig, go ahead.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Yes, they should do it. It makes perfect sense. That's it.
Okay, great. So far, so good. Doobie.
Yeah, I agree with Sig. I think every argument I've heard against trans women being in women's prisons is bordered on transphobic. I've looked into this for very deeply. I haven't found a single good argument across the board that isn't just, oh, these are actually men, so they shouldn't be there. So if you don't think these are actually men, you should be in favor of them being in women's prisons.
Okay. Connor.
Connor.
If you're talking, then we can't hear you, buddy. All right.
Create 3 different secure areas: one for men, one for women, one for high risk folk in general, and then just go in the place that is least likely to result in basically injury or death. So prisons are dangerous places. Let's make sure that going to prison isn't a fucking death sentence for people.
Okay, Mike.
I have no issue. Whatever. I mean, I don't know enough about it to really say anything about it, except for, I mean, it sounds like they should have their own area.
Sorry. Could you say that last part again? You cut out a little bit.
Oh, it sounds like they should.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Spartacus.
Okay, so I guess y'all gonna hate me for this one. I do not think that I think that it should be separated by sex. If you were born a male, you get to go to male prison. If you're born a female, you get to go to female prison. And the idea that the ending of the question says if they should be separated by sex, then what do we say to women who are incarcerated who've been victimized by men? Um, and I could easily turn that around. If they're going to be separated by gender, what do we say to women who are going
That
to be incarcerated that
that's
were
what Prime
victimized
meant.
by men? Like,
That's what Prime meant in the
but no,
question.
but it can go either way, right? It can go either way, right? Because if you could say if they were separated by sex, then what do we mean? What do we say to trans women who are incarcerated who have been victimized by men? And then if they should be separated by gender, then what do we say to women who have been incarcerated who are victimized by men? So I mean, you could ask that both directions, which is why I found that last part of the question a little bit weird. But I think if you're born a male, you get to go to male prison. If you're born a female, you get to go to female prison, no matter what you decide that you are.
Okie doke. Falinar?
So I actually think that it's a weird place. This is going to be an interesting take. Let me word this carefully. Based on what I've seen from a lot of stuff that's actually being stated on, I guess, just general forums like Twitter and other places like that. So take it as you may. There's been several complaints by both female prisoners across the board in the state of California, as well as also by a lot of representing attorneys, that there's severe concerns that sexually active men that were sex criminals, for instance, have been opting to quote unquote transgender in the prison systems. Not saying that people aren't legitimate, not saying that some of them aren't actually doing it, but in some cases they're claiming to be transgender to be transferred to female prisons. And there has been a reported and confirmed increase, substantial increase in sexual assaults and rapes in female prisons directly due to this. And it has become a major concern for the prison systems there. So I'm on the board, but also I'm also on the fence. I think that there should actually be some stipulations with this, such as, okay, well, if you're going to say that you're going to transgender, that you actually go through the process of going through the transition itself, and you actually start the hormone therapies, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'll post from the things that I've seen on Twitter, for instance. But that's my concern. I think that transgender people still have rights, whether they're in prison or not. I think all prisoners have rights. I think if they're legitimately transgendered and they feel like they should be transferred to the opposite sex, or opposite perceived sex prison, they should be allowed to. But I also do believe that there should be protections and rail guards in place to protect the populations of the respective sex, to ensure long term that it's safe for all population. I guess all populations of sexes.
Biggs is away. So if we'll go to GSU Gambit.
Yeah, so this is a really complicated topic to me. Wow, this is like super complicated. So we've had the transgender sports debate a lot, right? And one of the biggest things is HRT and how it reduces muscle mass and a bunch of other things, and it attempts to equalize competition for sports. The thing that's scared of me about prison is that they're with how we're defining transgender more recently in the circles that I've been in and listened to. Um, it seems scary that anyone could classify themselves as transgender, like what Fallon was saying. I'm not sure the data he was referencing, so maybe you should definitely source that because I'm pretty sure Chad
Yeah.
is probably going to scream at you to source that,
Yeah.
just like me. But there is no equalization like what we think is in our sports. I even have a problem with the sports thing, and we can talk about it later time. But so given how many rapes happen inside of like male prisons today, like my stepfather works in a prison and he tells me how like most of the time when people come in there within 3 months they're raped for sure. Like absolutely. If somebody's in a state penitentiary, they've been raped, period. Um and looking at how violent some of these people are once they're in jail, thinking of putting them into a situation where they could be far more physically dominant because according to latest talks and things that I've been in, like the requirement for HRT and all these other things, none of this is required to call yourself transgender. You can just say, hey, I'm transgender, and then boom, you're transgender, right? And if the state is going to honor it in that way, and this sounds weird, but if we don't have any other parameters other than self-identification in prison, I don't know if they have to go through like several some of the things like you have to go to outside of prison. So it all depends on how these things are playing out. But I'm generally against it, and I'm generally for segmenting by sex for sure. I think it's incredibly complicated though. Like maybe a person that it sounds so bad, but maybe a person that transitioned before they went to prison or something, potentially, but somebody in prison transitioning, I don't. It sounds bad, but I don't know if I support that person's right to transition. I support any adult's right to transition. I don't think it matters to anybody else, right? Like you should be able to do whatever you want. But when you're in prison and they're particularly harmful, granting that type of ability, I'm far more scared of it than I would be. Like for adults, random adults outside of prison. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll get into it in the open.
It's open. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me.
So can
go ahead
I?
and clarify-
Well,
just-
really quickly though, because I
Biggs, wait,
see
Biggs
their
is coming.
judgments
Biggs is coming
to
back.
you.
All right, cool.
Oh, Biggs is back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me
Hey,
just.
Biggs. No. Biggs, we just we were waiting for you. So your introduction to the second topic. You're muted.
Pro streamer.
Sorry. So everybody else won already?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So for this topic, I think it's very important that this seems like something that's very delicate and should be handled on a case-by-case basis. I think that each circumstance should be approached on whatever can be best for the person involved, as well as the person that they will be put with, as far as like being, inmates with or whatever. So I think that we need to kind of take this as we kind of just as they come. I don't think somebody that's completely like a post-op trans woman should be put in with cells with men. But I also don't know if it's also correct that somebody that's just a few months into their transition should be put into either as well. So I think it should be case by case, and I think we should kind of see what is best for the person themselves, which where they can be safe, and where also the people that they're put with can be safe as well.
DB.
Okay, so first of all, it seems weird that we would just accept that all these people are going to be raped. If rape is that big a deal, like, yeah, we should definitely do something about that, right? Like, I don't think that doesn't seem like a productive way to run a prison if the goal is to rehabilitate people. So that's just number one. But if the concern is that these people are going to be more physically dominant because they were born males, I mean, they're petite women, they're big burly women, right? Some people are more physically dominant than others. It just seems weird that we would, because these people might be more physically dominant, we put them in with men, or we put them in another facility. And you made a point earlier that like most male prisoners, right? That there's like an epidemic of rape in male prisons. That's true, but women's prisoners, right? People in women's prisons are also like 30 times more likely to be raped than women on the street, right? So there's an epidemic there too, right? So I don't know. It just seems like if what you're worried about is the physical dominance of these people, like you should just be like arguing for organizing prisons into weight classes or something.
So,
Well, you agree?
Doobie?
Wait, I want to ask Doobie a quick question, and then I promise I'll let you go, Sprout. You agree that like
I can't believe they all
man,
went
I
as
don't know how to
fast
say
that
this
fast
without it
before I
sounding
get back.
yikes. You
Say
agree
it.
that
Do it, embrace it, just do it.
No, I'm just. You agree that this is how we can say it. Yeah, okay. I got to remember these words. You agree that a trans woman pre-op raping a cisgender woman is different from a cisgender woman raping a cisgender woman, right? You agree that there's a different action being taken. Both of them are horrible violations of human autonomy, blah blah blah. But you do agree that like that's those two things aren't congruent, right?
Well, I'm not a woman, so I'm not going to speak to their experience, but I can't imagine that a woman being like forcibly, digitally penetrated by another woman would feel better about it than if someone like a woman being raped by someone with a penis, right? Like I'm sure these are both traumatic scenarios, right? I don't know why we make the distinction.
So, Doobie, imagine for a second that you're in a all-female prison, right? You're in an all-female prison, and you're a female, in this scenario, and you're in this prison, and then they allow someone who has a penis, who says that they're a female. How comfortable are you going to feel showering? How comfortable are you going to feel around this person that everyone knows has a penis?
This is emotional.
Okay,
this is
so,
like an emotional.
Yeah, this
word.
is
Like,
this is
I know,
I'm
I'm asking you.
hold on, to be clear.
I'm not necessarily scaring people. What I'm saying is,
No, I understand what you're saying.
it's going to change the entire culture of the prison. I think it would make rape, if not go up, make it seem like more of a threat.
Why? Do you think trans people just rape people more?
No, what I think is
Then why would the rape stats go up?
what I think is that mixing penises with vaginas typically ends in sex, whether they like it or not.
No,
so,
women rape each other all the time in prison. Like that's
But
a
not
thing
at
that
the
happens.
same rate. You agree.
It's at 30 times the rate as like the general population.
Even in basic training, males are not allowed in the female barracks, and females are not allowed in the male barracks.
These are males.
Doesn't make it, hold on, this doesn't make it okay. Why does this change things? Like Spartacus, your examples
I'm
don't
not
make
saying
sense.
it changes anything.
Right.
I'm sticking to my original stance as to I said if you're born a male, you get to go to male prison. You are born a female, you get to go to female prison.
Yeah, we all heard you when you said that, right? But then you started to try to clarify by saying, "Oh, like the rape will probably go up, or the rates will go up."
I said if it's not going to go up, the fear of it is.
The fear, if it's nothing, the fear of it is. So, like,
Wait,
hold on.
if there's already a rape epidemic, like, of course there's already fear of rape.
Oh, it's probably so. We just assign this based off people's like feelings. Like, oh, I think it's gonna like, well, like when desegregation was going on or was about to go on, a lot of people were afraid. They were afraid that. No, I'm just saying, a lot of people were afraid that certain things would happen at higher rates, right? Like that doesn't make it okay.
So
right?
you're equating my position with being against segregation.
I know. I'm saying it's a poor argument. I'm saying saying people are gonna. No. I'm saying people are gonna be more afraid is not
more
supposed to do
coherence.
that. That's what I'm saying.
But you agree that the coherence of those two people, the white person that's afraid of the black person, and the person that's afraid that could be systemic abuse amongst criminals, like those two statements don't have the same amount of coherence behind them. So to equate them in this conversation is disingenuous.
No, I don't think they have. No, I actually don't think. When I say this, I think they do have the same level of coherence. Absolutely. Okay. This idea that like, oh, because there's a person that has a penis that's here, that I'm afraid that you're saying I should just like you should just be more charitable to this person.
Well, imagine a trans man in men's prison, right?
Okay.
You really don't think with the epidemic of rape that instead of a butthole, they're gonna like what resembles closer to a vagina. You don't think that's gonna happen?
Well, like these things.
The issue there is that there's a rape epidemic, right?
Yeah,
so
the issue is the issue is the rape.
But that's not. But wait. But we can't talk. We can talk about these things in a silo because there's not going to be a solution for both, right? So things are happening right now, and legislation is changing our current prison system. So let's stick in them. Let's not go to the let's abolish prison. Let's make prisons rehabilitative. We all want that, but that's not related to this conversation. So let's not hop into that other conversation.
Yeah.
God,
so
hang on.
So hold on. No. Hold on. Sig, finish your point. Then Connor. Then Paul.
I was gonna say, GSU, these things are tied. When we're talking about the prison system, the United States and everything, right? These things are like tied. We can't just be like, let's ignore it, look at these in a vacuum. You're asking us essentially look at this in a vacuum when you say shit like that.
And that's how the policy is going to be applied, right?
No, it doesn't have to be.
Wait, is the policy changing in California right now?
So what anti-rape policy do you see being pushed in California?
Well, it being illegal. It being illegal for one, like every.
Okay. But is it changing jail? Is it changing what people in jail do with it being illegal? I'm pretty sure murder being illegal doesn't change murder stats in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So it being illegal was just a disingenuous take at trying to make what I said less reliable.
No, it wasn't. It was not what you said. GSU asked me a question about what policies does California have to try to reduce rape, and I said, well, they have like probably like one that's like very good, but obviously there's a lot more things that have to do with prison and prison reform that they could be doing better. Absolutely.
So question, Sig, quick question, because I know we was about to move on. Do you think a trans man is at a higher risk of being raped in a let me use the words correctly. In a male or female prison.
Male or female?
Given the statistical data, I don't know how
honestly, I'm not sure about that.
Wait, okay.
No, hold on.
wait,
If a trans
so-
man,
wait,
hold
so
on,
the
think about
obvious-
this.
the
Here,
obvious-
GSU. Actually, let's think about a trans man goes into.
We're gonna go on a list.
Okay,
Finish. Finish.
If a trans man were to go to a fucking, if Buck Angel were to go to a fucking female prison, I think he'd have a pretty high risk of being raped. I don't know about that one, Chief. Like that would actually be like, don't you think? Think about that, GSU, for a second. You know, if a trans
I don't
man
have
would be
to
high
think
risk.
about this. The data on it is clear. If you're an individual
The data is
in
clear.
a male prison today, the likelihood that you're raped is astronomically high. Such
But
that it's
feminine
like
gay guys are also much more likely to be raped. Does that when we put them into women's prisons?
that wasn't the question that we're talking about.
So, okay, this doesn't break down. So the article that I provided to these individuals, and we'll go to counter after this. The article I provided doesn't actually break this down in between trans men and trans women. All it says is that there have been 261 requests for transfer, right? And of the 261 requests, all but 6 asked to be housed in a woman's facility, right? So of the transfers, only 6 of them, I guess that means they said transfer me to a male prison. I guess. But in any case, all of them have been to. So what does that mean? Does that mean that?
Yeah.
So transgenders are the only ones that get to choose whether they want to be in a male prison or a female prison?
Transgender
people who are trans.
People. They're people. They're not transgenders, please. I'm sorry. I
They
got
are
that guy.
so they are transgenders, and they're
Trans
not.
people.
So,
Trans
so
people.
what? Okay. Let me put it this way: cisgendered people can't say, "Oh, I'd like to be in the women's prison." That sounds cool to me.
Yeah, that's the point. Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Is that transgender people can decide, well, theoretically, or would, if this would go through, would be able to decide if they want to be in the male or female prison.
It has already gone through.
Well,
this is what I'm talking about. Hold on, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, I got a list. I'm going to go to the counter next, right? But the point is, all I'm saying is that the article that I cited doesn't necessarily break it down between trans men and trans women. All it does, right, the closest thing it gives us to that is saying that only 6 individuals, 6 requests have been made to transfer, well, to not a female prison, which I'm assuming means a male prison. So maybe that's a trans men asking to go to the male prison. But if that's the case, right, I'm assuming there's more than 6, again, of these initial 261 requests, 6 trans men in there. I'm guessing, right? And if that's the case, then it also brings up the question as to why does no one want to go to a male's prison, right?
Crime,
and then I think that's what people have been saying. So hold on, no, we got to go.
Can you take another guess for me real quick?
Connor.
Yes. So the reason why, so GSU, I understand why you want to keep the conversation.
Yeah, I don't think that's the
limited,
case,
but
Miguel,
literally,
but
as you were saying
just,
that, I was trying to make it more holistic.
I don't know.
The reason why is because
I think there's cases where it could be
I don't think that,
reasonable for a trans woman to be put in a woman's prison.
I'm kind of with
but I
Doobie
also think
here,
there's also
where
cases
the
where
root should
a
be
trans
like,
woman should be put
you know,
in a men's
we have a
prison.
rape
And I think
epidemic
it
in
just depends
prisons.
on
You know,
the
that's
spectrum,
basically
you
the
know?
major concern, and that's what we need to address holistically. That's not going to be addressed by this policy. It's probably not even going to be addressed by this conversation. But I don't think that, like, you know, if you commit a crime in American society, that should mean that you go to a place where you either get to choose to be a rapist or a rape victim. That sucks that that's accepted in our society. And even if you look back in humor from like the 1990s, 2000s, it's like fucking jokes. Like, we just joke about male on male rape like all the time.
I'm just here to fill space.
That's super fucked.
Sunshine.
And then
I'm not really a panelist.
I want to do a holistic
I'm just here to fill space.
proposal.
Talk
One
to
of
you
them,
guys.
to address this issue very specifically, I think that there should probably
I'm sad
be
that I
3
missed the
groups,
intros
and,
because
people should be
I don't know
thrown in these groups depending
if anybody
on which
actually like. Do they
one
think that it
is
should
least likely to
be
result
like
in their
based on
injury or
whatever
death.
you like the person
One would
decides,
be,
or do you think there should be
men's prison? The other one would be
trans women
women's
should be
prison, and then
automatically
the
put
other one
women's
would be a high risk
prisons
high
without
risk
their
category.
consent, or
let's say that you're an effeminate
trans
man,
men should
but
be
you
put
don't
in men's
quite fit in
prisons
the women's
without their
prison,
consent, or
you
should
can
it
go
be
to
up
the
to
high
them,
risk
or
category.
what? I totally
if
missed
you're
that.
a
I
trans
don't know
man,
what the
trans
question
woman,
is.
and you felt like you would be taken advantage of in either perspective, then you could go to the high risk category. The stipulation of being in the high risk categorization basically being that you treat the high risk people that you're partnered with not as victims to victimize, but as peers who are basically trying to get through this shitty experience together. What I would also say, because that I think that addresses the problem that's in front of us. What I think
Acting
would
like
address the
criminals are
problem in
unlikely to
general, because we
identify
talk
as
about
different
rehabilitative,
genotype
and I'm not like
versus
purely
the-
sold on.
I don't think people
rehabilitative
actually
justice,
do
right?
that though. I
But
really
I think
don't.
that
I
prisons should
think
basically
that
be tiered in
these
3
are
different
mostly
ways as
geared
well.
towards the actual people
The
that are already
hyper-violent,
transitioning
barely
prior to
controllable
being
folks,
convicted of something.
the
But like, I
folks
don't
who are
know.
just trying to ride out their sentence, and the folks who are actively trying to turn their lives around. Because what you could do is, instead of just having all stick, you could have carrot and stick. People who would have access to college classes, maybe they would have access to better accommodations, maybe less restrictions, like all that kind of
I
stuff,
feel dumb
in
now
order
for
to
taking
promote
too long in my
pro-social behavior and
little
less
break. I thought it was gonna be more
recidivism.
of a break.
Whereas if there was people who were just victimizing other people in prison or jail, then those people are also segregated and maintained in a way that's safer for everybody else. And I'll leave it there.
So I'm going to go to Fallen North and Sig, and then Biggs, and then GSU.
Okay, so all right. To clarify previously for
Oh,
chat,
I said Sprout. No, so I meant Sproutacus. Sorry, I meant Fallen North, Sproutacus, Biggs, then GSU. Go ahead, Fallen North.
cool. So, all right. So to clarify earlier, so that chat doesn't have a seizure. When I said Twitter, I mean the sources that I've seen on Twitter, not Twitter itself. I don't think Twitter would ever be, as people said, a fucking citation. But like for instance, one of the resources I posted.
It depends
here
on what they're
VC chat a
criminals
while
for,
ago
though. Like
is, for
obviously,
instance,
like a
from the
rape
Women's Liberation Front. It's a class action lawsuit brought against
conviction
California.
would be more likely to rape,
it
right? But,
includes
like,
the state attorney
I don't think a
general,
person that's,
several
like,
prison wardens at this point, and obviously the Women's Liberation Front,
like
which is a certified
embezzling money
501c3.
person would be more likely to
I
rape.
think they're like a
I don't
feminist
think-
movement by definition and self-classification that specializes in women empowerment.
Which source? I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm interrupting you. Which one did you post?
It's in
No,
VC
I'm looking at all three of the. I'm looking at all three of the links you've posted.
Yeah.
Which one
The
is it?
first one is the Center Square one.
The Center Square one.
Yeah, and that one's in regards to the litigations case that they brought up. One of the points that they make within this case is the fact that 20% of the people that are requesting the transfer, 20% of transgenders that are identified are sex offenders. And they bring up other points such as the increase in the epidemic of rape cases in regards to transfers. I've included one of those actual active lawsuits where a woman was actually actively raped by a transgender person that requested one of these cases. That was in Illinois, but it just creates the cases themselves. It's also one of the links. It's the
Fallen I don't mean to keep. I hate this because this is actual misinformation. This is fucking dangerous. Okay, the Women's Liberation Front is a known turf organization. Okay, it was founded by Lear Keith.
Wait,
it's one of those.
Let's not ad hom, right?
I'm not ad homing.
Wait,
whoa, let Sig finish his point.
He interrupted Fallenor. Why do I have to let him finish? So no, like,
whoa, everyone shut the fuck up. Holy shit, I fuck up. No one else. Stop that. Thank you.
All right. When you talk like all the things that you've said, right? Like when you talk about this group calls for the end of this sort of thing to happen. Okay. Well, no, it was like this group, which is a Women's Liberation Front, a known hate organization against transgender people, okay, decided to speak out something about this sort of thing. They even call them trans identifying men, right? Like these are people, this is from something from like 2009. All sorts of things. This isn't like this isn't a reputable sort of source or group to be posting here. It's not. I wouldn't call this anything like substantial. When you
so
say
you're
that.
saying that prison wardens and the state attorney general is in the same boat? Like
just because there's some historically bad group doesn't mean they haven't found a valid case, right?
Yeah,
that's ad hom.
So this is after 24 rape cases. So you're not to disrespect you, but you're literally
no. The state attorney general didn't say. It says here that the letter written by the legal director of the Women's Liberation Front is directed to the governor, the state attorney general, the CDC sergeant. So this is a letter they wrote to them. The state attorney general didn't say shit.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that they did on this one. I'm saying that after this article was written, the state attorney general has also responded. This is what you're not letting me finish.
Oh, can we get a source? Can we just get a source on that?
Yeah, I'll continue to provide data. Because this is actually something that matters a lot to me. Because I date people that fall under this umbrella. So this matters.
No, that's weird. That's weird. You earlier on you said you weren't really going to talk that much about it, and now you say, "Oh, this actually means a lot to me."
Can you let him provide the data? Can you let him provide the data without interrupting, Sig?
I didn't say that I wouldn't talk a lot about this, and you can roll the VOD if you'd like. Like I said, I have, and I said in the very beginning, like I'm actually informed on this because I care about this topic. So that's the self.
You're informed because you care.
Yeah.
Can you let him talk, please?
Hey, Sid, can you let him talk, please?
Yeah. But my concern with this is there are already 24 confirmed rape cases. So this isn't something you can just discard. This is an actual issue. And the other sources that I provided is there are hundreds more that are either already occurred or that have complaints about them that are still being investigated. So this is literally hundreds of rape victims. This isn't like, okay, one off, two off. I provided one of the lawsuits from one of the other prison systems, not just California, to show this isn't just an issue just in California. This is an America-wide issue, which I've agreed with other points. I haven't had a chance to speak on those. Because the fact that this is an epidemic in America. Rape in prison is a very serious issue that needs to be addressed. And this is why I care about it, is because even though they are prisoners and they have committed crimes of various natures, they are still people. And people do not deserve to be raped, irregardless of what they have done. That being said, this is a very sensitive issue because of the fact that it impacts a lot of people's rights in a lot of different ways. And so this is a huge problem. I think, and I agree with what other people have said, that it should not be just something that people have just declared. And other sources that I'm looking for to pull up to also provide that's actually been discussed in the prison systems about an actual demonstration of genuine interest in the transition and not just a declarative statement of, oh, I'm transgender, therefore I should now be automatically transferred.
Okay, so
That was actually, go ahead, Prime. I don't want to
okay,
interrupt.
yeah, no, sure, no problem. But like, if so, you said 24 cases, then you escalated that number. But whatever, let's 24 cases, 100%.
No,
Let's say
no,
all.
no,
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 no.
no. Let's
If
say that all that is completely true, right? Is it that the problem is that these people who will be transferring will never victimize, or that they will victimize anymore, right? Because understanding what you said, right, that rape is unfortunately a very real part. So, or what is? So I'm hearing a lot of background noise. So I gotta make some. Founder. We got some background noise from you. I don't know. We got like reverb. Yeah. Okay. So, understanding that sexual assault is an epidemic in these prisons any which way, right? Even if it's true that trans individuals, right, have assaulted like cis women, right? Let's say this program, let's move this program up 10 years, right? And we find there are cases of that. Does that mean that this program shouldn't be the case, especially since rape is a thing that happens in these prisons any which way? Maybe instead we should look at like if there is an increased rate, right? Like that these trans women are increased victimizers, right? Instead of what we usually see in the real world, where trans women are more likely to be victimized than the victimizer, right?
Well, that's part of the data set. So the one of the citations that I gave you, 24 are confirmed rapes. The hundreds more are investigations of concerned rapes, and then there are also hundreds more transgenders that are looking to transfer to female prisons, which is there is a concern that there could potentially be more rapes that have to be investigated.
Okay, so can I ask again? Do you think trans people are just more
Three
likely to
different
rape people?
I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that.
Then why would
trans
you
men
why do you
raped.
keep implying that if they get to these women's prisons, the rape rates are going to go up?
I'm
Okay, so
not saying that that's the case. What I'm saying is for places that have had transfers, there have been rapes.
Wait,
So
but they're already like up to like close to like 10,000 rapes in U.S. prisons every year. There's like 24. Let's say
hold on. Finish your question, and then we're gonna go to Sprout.
Yeah, so if you're saying there's 24 trans rapists in women's prisons or whatever, and I think that study was like in the last 10 years or some shit. Like this is a very small number, so I don't understand.
Well,
we know that there are
this is
thousands
24
of
allegations. No, 24 allegations is what that link that he linked said. Allegations. That's
So there are thousands
now
of
it's
allegations.
not believe all women.
And these are the ones that are reported.
I never said I
ascribe to that. A lot of these prisoners don't even report the rapes, right? So God knows how many there actually are. So if it increased by 24 because of these specific trans people, like why would we assume that if we allow more trans people in, it's definitely gonna go up, more people will be raped?
I'm not okay. So
not answer the complicated question he's throwing at us.
I
don't mind answering it. But go ahead.
So I will respond, and then I'll let you respond, GSU, if that's okay with you, Prime.
Yeah, and then we got to go to Sprout. Sprout's been waiting very patiently.
So I don't think transgender people, just by being transgender, makes you a rapist. That is not what I am saying. What I am saying is there has been a formal litigation case filed because there have been an increase of rapes that are directly correlated to people who have declared themselves transgender, who have then transferred to female prisons, and then have raped people. That is what I am saying. That is the security concern. I do not think that even if, as you said, there are 10,000 cases, I am not saying that that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm saying rape is bad. All rape is bad. I would also say that discarding a single rape victim, irregardless of what current data set is, one more is still one more too many.
Brave. Rape is
Yeah,
bad,
so it seems
yes.
like there's a rape issue. We should deal with the rape issue rather than making this about trans people and implying repeatedly that trans people are going to go into then rape all these women.
Yeah, but you cut me off. And as I said before, I think the rape issue and the rape pandemic in prisons is itself a problem that needs to be resolved. I do not think that the problem should be exacerbated, and as I also said, I do not think that the rights of transgender people should be trampled on simply because of the fact that they are transgender. However, there have been reported cases in other data sets where people who are sex offenders have requested to be transferred to a female prison under the basis of them declaring themselves without any other supporting documentation or evidence that they are transgender. By literally saying they are transgender, they are requesting a prison transfer, and those have been denied.
Okay, there's so many.
That is itself trampling on the rights of a transgender person. It's a very complicated situation.
No, God, there's so much I have to dig into that. But God damn it! All right, first GSU, we gotta dig into that later. GSU, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think Doobie's being regular Doobie and just trying to ask bad questions and hope somebody says the wrong thing. It's disgusting. But okay, so no one that I've heard is saying anything amongst the likes of just naturally transgender people rape. Trans people, transgender people, trans people. I don't know which one. Everybody's mad that y'all are saying transgender, so I'm trying to remember to say trans people. Okay,
Trans individuals.
yeah,
Sorry,
trans individuals. Yeah,
is it supposed to be trans people?
apparently it's a
apologize,
slur or
trans-
something. I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
Apparently it's a
Just go, please.
Yeah. So, no one is saying that trans people just naturally rape people more. I think the conversation is over the power dynamic that would happen in a prison system where rape already happens. And that's very different from the question that you asked. So I feel like you asked the question in bad faith. And I think you understand what we're saying. You were just hoping that somebody slips up and just answers your question.
Well,
Yes.
that's bullshit. Can I respond to that, or you want to get scallop on something else?
I'm not good scalping
Okay,
on something
cool.
else. I'm talking about one
Okay,
topic.
then I'll respond to what you just said. So
Okay, go ahead.
we talked about the power dynamic earlier, right? You said that they are physically more dominant. Therefore, if rape is already an issue, if you introduce people that are physically more dominant, you might have more people being raped by these physically dominant people. But when I responded with, "Hey, there are petite women, there are burly women, there are women that are more physically dominant than other women," like it doesn't. If that's your issue, you should be arguing for like weight classes in prison or some shit.
No,
right? So okay,
no.
well then how do we
Can you let
deal
me
with that?
respond?
Sure.
So can you let me respond? Yeah. So you said that dumb thing earlier, and I didn't get to respond because there's like 9 people on the panel, right? So we when we look at sports and everything, we've segregated ourselves in trying to make competition more fair, right? So it's realistic that there are some women that are going to be stronger than other women, just like there's going to be some men that are going to be stronger than other men. But it's always true, generally, that a pre-transition person is stronger than the average woman, right? Because the average biological male is stronger than the average biological female. So in inside of sports with HRT, you could say that we reduce things and we make the playing field even. I kind of have some disagreements with Hart and all the other stuff, but generally you can say that. You can't say that in the case of where we're talking about prisons and things like that right now, because all of those qualifiers that the Olympic staff and everybody else has on individuals that transition do not exist. So I think your whole framing of all of this is just bad faith.
Okay, so if that's
I
the
know,
case,
Do you
would
disagree?
be?
Do you wait? Do you disagree?
Yeah, I disagree. But I'm going to ask you a
With
question.
what?
Do you think that?
No, don't answer my question. What do you disagree with?
Well, I don't think you addressed anything I said. I think you bringing up that they deal with this in the Olympics by requiring HRT over a certain period of time.
Do you
Is
think?
how, like I don't see how that's all relevant to the prison situation, right? But this is what I was going to ask you. Unless you're saying that you would require that these people be on HRT for a specified amount of time before they're allowed to transition to women's prisons.
Say that again.
would you be okay with them with trans inmates transferring to women's prisons or males prisons if they've been on HRT for a specified amount of time? Let's say a couple of years on HRT, then they can transfer.
All right, this is going to be trans medicalist, right? I think that's what
shit.
the term is for this.
Mhm.
I think that could be gained still, and I think that we're looking at this from an aspect of regular people, and we're not looking at this from an aspect of criminals. And I think it's coherent to think that criminals might game a system like this. And I think unless there's also other blockers from these type of transfer requests, I wouldn't support it, even if they took HRT.
Wait, so okay, so
I would agree.
but again, if your issue is like physical dominance and like,
Well, it's physical dominance, but it's also you didn't let me finish earlier. Remember, you butted in. I was gonna, and you said
okay,
don't
go ahead,
discount, so I'll let you.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, go ahead.
So I think there's also a what's the word I want to use? I'm trying to think of what word.
Just say it.
works
Just
No,
embrace,
it's not that. No, it's not that I'm
embrace the
trying to be.
transphobia
No,
and
no,
go for it.
it's not that I'm trying to be
Okay,
PC right now.
Doobie,
I'm trying
really?
to. I'm trying to communicate my point. I think that if there's a individual
People just like to be
with
long-winded and it's
a
ridiculous.
penis, and this is a criminal that could or could not be dealing with gender dysphoria and stuff, their ability to game this system is different. So it's not that we're necessarily talking about transgender people, trans people. We're also talking about the criminals who will game this system. And I think you're wholesale throwing it away as if it's impossible to game this. So that's why I think we're missing you.
I just want to
Okay.
bug in here.
Let's
Like,
no,
if
no,
there's-
No.
Oh, we got to go. Sprout, Biggs, counter.
Okay, so now I was gonna say this a while ago, but Prime, if you would guess something else for us, that would be awesome. So you're a male in a male prison, okay? You're a biological male,
Mhm.
and you have a life sentence. You're not
Mhm.
getting out of jail for the rest of your life. You're gonna die in jail. Now, tell me, which one would you rather be in? Would you rather be in the male prison or the female prison?
I take my chances in the female prison.
You take your chances to the female prison.
Mhm.
Exactly. So that's the issue I have. Is Prime isn't necessary. Prime is not trans, but he still want to take his chances in the female prison.
Oh, no, that's two different things. For once, so now you're saying that I'm actually transferring under this program, right? So that's a different thing. You didn't ask me that. You asked me if I would rather be in the male or the female prison, right? I would say I'd rather be in the female prison, right? That would probably be a safer bet. But that doesn't mean that I wanted to like use this program or that I could use this program. Those are two different things. Now,
Okay.
let's
okay,
say
so,
that I did use this program. All right, so let's
Okay.
go with that. If I did use this program, does that mean as a cisgendered male, because I am cisgendered, as a
Yes.
cisgendered male, does that mean that rape will follow? So that in this example, I go to the female prison, and then I will necessarily rape a woman there.
Okay, what if it's not even rape, Prime? What if girls are just like, oh, a guy's in the women's prison and they're like, I haven't had sex in so long. Like it still provides another issue.
And female prisoners fuck each other all the time, but that's not the important point, right? So,
Okay, but there's difference between female versus female.
When I
and
asked about the sexual harassment, right? So, or sexual assault.
I know what you asked about, but I'm not saying
Okay,
it's
well
not the
then
only
answer
issue.
that question then.
That's
if you
not the
already
only
know it.
issue.
That is
That's not the
that
only
is the
issue.
Stop dancing it. So like answer that issue, then maybe we can go with something else. But answer that one.
It's not the only issue.
Oh no, yeah, I don't care. This is the one we're talking about. That's great. So answering the question.
My question got
I don't give a shit what your
hijacked.
question is right now. Now I'm asking you.
I realize that, Prime. I realize you don't give a
answered
shit.
your question. I answered your question. Answer mine. So, as a cisgendered person, right, cisgendered male, if I slip through this through the cracks of this program, does that mean that rape necessarily follows?
No, it doesn't mean that rape necessarily.
Oh, okay,
no.
great, right. So part of the scaremongering around this program is like, well, oh no, a cisgender male's going to get through, and then who knows what's going to happen?
Isn't this very
right?
productive
Well, look,
conversation?
it actually might be.
I
that
definitely think it
a cisgender male
depends
is being
on
raped
the
a lot,
panel,
like
for sure.
GSU pointed out, right? That they're being victimized,
I
and then they
think
use this
that
program
some
trying
panels are better than others
way to
as far as
escape, right?
productivity.
And if that happens, that does not
And,
necessarily mean that does not necessarily mean that sexual assault will
We'll
follow.
see how this goes
right?
the rest of the way.
Those two things are very different. In fact, like it's possible, right? Because if you're identifying, now that you're identifying as non-binary or trans female, right? That we know
man, I could have talked to you guys about minimum wage. Wouldn't that have been fun? I bet that would have been more fun.
Part of the article that I
But it's okay.
showed to these individuals,
I guess when it's my own show and I can control the conversation,
staff,
it'd be a lot better.
the
just
prison
for me
staff in
personally,
these,
because I'm a control freak.
in these
I like being
prisons,
controlled.
right, have been saying that, telling the women that get ready, the men are coming. Get ready, right? Because it's going to get crazy in here, all right? You're going to get raped.
Crazy in here.
That's what the prison staff is telling the women.
Is there a higher? Prime, is there a higher? If you put males, if you put biological males inside a biological female prison? Prime, you interrupted me.
I'm gonna holy fuck! I can talk whenever the fuck I want on my channel. Thank you very much. So if I can mute you, you need help. You need help with that, understanding that. Don't worry, I got you. No problem. Good. All right. So I will finish my story.
Funny.
So these
man,
individuals,
Prime is laying down the law.
That increased rape will necessarily happen.
The law.
Right? That is increasing the amount of stigmatism to these people. They are more likely, like these women coming in now because of the work of the guards, to be victimized. If these same guards are in charge, these guards are more likely to victimize those trans women, right? Or people claiming to be trans, whatever, right? That they're more likely to be victimized. That's the situation they're facing. I have a cousin. This cousin lives in California. This cousin is a prison guard. And this cousin is a person who, on their own, will bring up, like, what's up with the trans people, right? He'll go on these rants, like completely impromptu about these things, right? If my cousin is in one of these prisons, I don't know, she's in the male prison as far as I know, but he will be spreading that misinformation. He'll be part of these guards and making it more dangerous for trans women. So that's what we have to be actually concerned with, right? Not necessarily, again, this thing that trans individuals will necessarily rape a person, or a cis male or necessarily rape a person. That people going through this program can be victimized, will likely be victimized, just like all the rest within the prison system. Okay, Sprouticus, I'm gonna unmute you. There you go.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that when you put a male into a female prison, it doesn't necessarily mean 100% of the time that rape is to follow, but it does mean that there is a higher percentage chance that rape will occur. The two can be separate but still be true at the same time. So while I'm going on this, Sig, you're not all in the free. I'm really glad you decided that not to believe all women anymore, claiming these are just allegations.
Wait, when did I talk about like any hashtag believe all women stuff earlier in this discussion? Can you link that, please?
Well, I'll go through your Twitter afterwards. I'm sure I'll
I don't have a Twitter. I don't have a Twitter, Sprout.
Okay. Well, you know what?
I don't have a Twitter.
You assume my position.
Are you on the left? Are you on the left?
Yes.
This is what
I'm on the left, and I don't say that.
Okay, so Sig natural. Now I'm gonna take your word for it. Have you ever before stated believe all women?
No.
No.
It's so stupid.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
I'm
just stating. I mean, people do it to me all the time, so just feel lucky that it doesn't happen to you all the time. But what I was saying to Prime is that the possibility that happens will go up if biological males are in a biological female prison. That's undeniable. Without a doubt, the possibility will go up. It doesn't mean
it sucks because like I know Sprout gets like dunked on every fucking panel, but like he still fucking has more viewers, he gets more content,
female
more
prisoners
invites.
are astray, right? And
I
they
just
probably
feel bad
won't care
because like he just gets dunked
someone who
on these
identifies
panels.
as a
But
trans woman.
I guess if he's a
they're gonna see
masochist
a
and likes
penis,
it, it's fine.
They're gonna be like, oh god, I haven't had dick in forever, and they might just have consensual sex. right? Like I don't know why we'd assume that there'd even need to be rape, right? If this
That's-
person is after sex.
I stated that was another issue.
Hey, I watch
why
Orange
is
is
this
the
an
New
issue,
Black.
right? So do you
I
think
know
that
what those
prisoners
lady
should be allowed to
prisons
have
are like.
consensual
Hell
sex?
yeah, that's like
No, I don't
casual
think prisoners
shit.
should have consensual sex.
That's
No.
100% fact.
You think that they shouldn't be able to have sex with each other?
No.
No, by law,
Like
you're not
ever.
allowed to. It's classified as rape.
Wait, hold on. But if two prisoners like consensually
It's
decide
rape.
to have sex, it's rape. Like every
It's
time.
rape.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah,
Period.
that's really stupid. That's a law. That's a stupid law. Because that I think two adults in prison can agree to have sex. with each other.
Prisoners are not allowed to have sex with each other. That's
Yeah,
just
I
it.
think the reason is for that just to assume, right? Because consent is a weird thing in prison, and so I think that it's just blanket assume that it's problematic. I see why they do it. I can see why you might not want to do it, but I see at least I think I understand the reasoning behind it. So, all right.
Why is
let's go to Biggs, who's been waiting a long time, longer than anyone here, and then counter.
Yeah, so I definitely can see both sides of this argument because when we look at it, like obviously we want to keep people safe, and I think that's the number one goal is we want people to be safe and comfortable. I mean, obviously I know they're prisoners, but we still want them to be safe, right? That's just like we don't want cruel and unusual punishment, okay? But when we boil it down to the actual data, and most cases say that transgender people are 9 to 10 times more likely to be sexually assaulted by their fellow inmates, regardless of whatever prison they're in. I would assume, again, based on the data I'm looking at now, is that it's the majority of the cases are trans women being put in male prisons because of the fact that the majority of the over 4,000 transgender people in prisons, most of them are housed based on their sexual assignment at birth, not by their lived gender. So I think that would be most likely assumed correct, right? And not only that, but they're also 5 times as likely to be assaulted by actual staff of the prisons themselves. So I think when we want to protect people, and I think that's like the number one goal, and I think we can all agree on, because even if you're arguing either side of this case, we want people to be as safe as possible. So I think that just based on the data we have now, that it makes sense to put people with the most, safest place they can be. And if I think that is the case, and if they are trans women and they are more comfortable and safe to be in these women's prisons, I think that's fine. Now, the problem that we have, which has been brought up, and I think Doobie is correct in this case, though somewhat misguided on his view of it, is that the bigger issue here is the rape problem. I think that people in the prison system that are more susceptible to commit rape should be separated from the population altogether. I think those people should be pulled and isolated because, you know what, they're going to be causing more safety concerns than any trans person in the prisons themselves. I think that that's like just obvious. I think that,
I agree with that.
yeah, so I think that we can go ahead.
Can I just want to back up Biggs. Can I back up Biggs?
It's your turn anyway.
Go ahead.
All right, awesome.
Everyone in prison rapes.
Okay, so this is where I want to back up Biggs because I feel like that was the most wholesome shit that anybody said over the past 45 minutes, and I want to continue the wholesome train, okay? I would like to hear any counter arguments to this perspective that we could make 3 categories as far as like housing, one for men, one for women, one for high risk. Now, obviously, like high risk is probably going to be the preferred category that everybody wants to get to, but it's actually going to be on a case-by-case evaluative basis, and basically that categorization is going to be necessary based off of like if you were trans or if you were a feminine man or a masculine woman and you were getting attacked and shit on because of immutable characteristics or whatever, then you could basically be selected for this high risk category and housed separately. And then on top of that, part of that categorization
I love being wholesome.
is the fact that you're
I'm the daddy. I'm the Twitch daddy.
So that's the first half of
Twitch
it.
Papa.
The
Papa
second
Twitch.
half of it is basically 3 tiers. One for violent offenders, and as we were just mentioning, people who are going to rape who need to be segregated from the population in the first place. The second would be people doing time, people who just want to do time. They're not interested in rehabilitation. They literally just want to wake up, 3 hots in a cot, and they just want to do their time and get the fuck out. And then voluntary rehabilitation. Basically a higher tier program that's lower security, that actually has like educational opportunities and like perks and benefits and fucking better commissary and like all that kind of shit to incentivize people to be like, hey, I've already been in prison like 2 times now. I don't want to be back in this motherfucker. I want to jump in the rehabilitative program and get my shit together.
Okay, let's go. Sig, let's go. Yeah, we got a list. We have a limited amount of time. We got to go to Sig. We're gonna go to Mike. We're gonna go to GSU, Fowler, and Sprout.
Big Papa Twitch.
Counterpoints.
Hell yeah.
I completely. I don't know if I agree with the exact system you set up and everything like that, because I would have to see it play out. But like we were talking about complete and utter prison reform, like 100%, of course, prison reform. Like I think everyone here is agree our prisons are fucked up right now. They need complete reform from the top down. Okay. But the system that you're putting up and everything. Interesting. In your system, would you still allow trans men in the men's section and trans women in the women's section, provided they weren't proven to be higher risk individuals?
Yeah, I think that would actually be like it would be the stated preference of the prisoner, also like an evaluation of risk, and like basically those variables could be evaluated by not police, corrections administrators to one, reduce the risk of injury or death to the prisoner, and then two, take prisoner preference into consideration as far as what they want to do. And then by basically having it broken up into those three categorizations, and then the three violent people doing time, whatever, you can further segregate. So let's say that there was like a major concern, like, hey, this guy's going to therapy, and he's saying that he is now a woman. So they are going through a transition. They want to be referred to as she, her, blah, blah, blah. They go on hormones and all that kind of stuff. But this person is just violent. Like they've just been violent in the past, all that kind of stuff. You can still segregate them within that other three tier of violent, serving time, and rehabilitation based off of their behavior, and further incentivize them to go through those three categories as well.
I think this is a fine take. Okay, it's good. It's inclusive. That's what matters, right? Inclusive, and that's overall what I want. My central goal here is inclusive and protecting people.
Yeah, I think I generally agree with what Connor said too. But I'm curious if Straticus, if you're classifying all like prisoner sex as rape, and I think you said that's how it's seen right now, but you seem to agree with that, right? If you think all these people that are having even consensual sex in prison are necessarily like raping each other, would you be in support of chemically castrating prisoners temporarily while they're in prison to lessen the likelihood of that happening?
No, I would not be in support of chemically castrating prisoners.
But this is reversible, right? It's a reversible procedure. So while they're in prison, the chemical
it's hypothetically reversible. It's not reversible for each.
No, it's definitely reversible.
Oh, so what chemical castration is reversible? Please inform me.
I mean, there are injections people take. There are pills they can take that will lessen the likelihood. First off, it lowers the libido. If they're going to get an erection, it makes it their erections less strong. Makes them less long.
Just give them all anti-Viagra, right?
Much harder to have sex. But yeah, exactly. It's basically anti-Viagra.
Because they can get drugs in prison, they're not going to be able to get Viagra. Okay, I mean, next, no, I'm not in favor of chemically castrating people.
Okay, so you just want all these people to be raping each other. So.
No, I don't want all these people to be raping each other, but chemical castration would not be the answer for that.
What's the answer?
If
personal responsibility.
Yeah, if the threat is rape, if the problem is rape, right?
I love Doobie.
And that's the thing you've been hanging your hat on in terms of moving prison.
Doobie's so hilarious.
Right? Then
he's the
we
best
have
troll
an
ever.
answer to that, right? Like if it really is sexual assault, then we would have an answer to decrease that. If that's the thing.
Yeah, we're just gonna chemically castrate you because we're not sure if you commit a crime or not. So
Exactly.
before you even commit a crime, we're gonna chemically castrate you just to be safe.
So before we even commit a crime, we're going to assume you're going to commit a crime if we take you to a woman's prison.
That's what you've been doing this entire time.
No, it's not what I've been doing. What I've been saying is I don't think that trans women belong in women prisons. I don't think trans men belong in men's prisons. I'm sorry.
Why?
I just don't think that's
because
they were biologically born that way. And I think if you're biologically a male, then you end up in a male prison. If you're biologically a female, you end up in a female prison.
Can I just ask Sprout? He asked me some questions before. I just want to ask Sprout. So do you think that
before you do that, hold on.
Okay.
No. Why?
Why? So the straight answer to the question is
yes. Government mandated quadriplegia. Everybody
has
to be a vegetable.
I'm going to answer the straight question.
Everybody gets to be a
vegetable. Do you think
vegetable.
that biological males, whether or not they identify as trans women, are more likely to rape biological women in prison?
That is such a disingenuous question. It's not what Prime asked me.
That's what I just asked.
So I don't.
It reminds me of the
asking me a question.
The Star Trek episode where O'Brien gets convicted of a crime.
I believe that there are biological
20 years in this
whether or not you want to say you're a female or a male. But really, it's not like 20 years. It's just 20 years in his mind. Between a biological male and a biological female.
Hours or days
Therefore,
in his
the biological males
reality.
end up in biological male prison, and the biological females end up in biological female prison.
What are these differences that we're worried about?
Well, first off, biological males tend to be stronger on average.
What would they use that for? What would they use that strength for?
they could do that many different things. They could shank people. They could do many different things.
They
There's
could
plenty of
dominate
ways to
on the
shank them.
basketball
Shank
in the
people with
yard
their
time.
increased
A woman
strength.
can't stab you. A woman.
I mean,
Can't
a woman
stab you?
can, but imagine
Oh,
a
I'm trying
man
to get out
pushing
of this
through women to
topic.
shank somebody. It'd be a lot easier for a man to do that
Just
than a woman.
put your hanging your hat on.
What do you?
No, what I'm saying is there's
Wait, Spartacus.
biological
But what if a
differences.
trans person has gone through the like SRS? They've taken all the hormones for years. They've totally transitioned, right? Do you still think
This
that they,
is
because they were
ridiculous
biologically male, should go to a
conversation.
male prison?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All
I,
right.
can I?
All right. Hold on. We got a. Fuck. Yeah. Go ahead. So Mike, go ahead. Mike is next, please.
Yeah. Counterpoints. Do you know? I remember you saying once you have a friend who is a CO or something like that. I'm curious. I think it's 1/4 of the prison population is people with developmental disabilities, and I would hope if we're doing a situation where we have 3 sections of like vulnerable people, those would be people who would be put in that area too. People with like autism or some kind of intellectual disability.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Those are
somebody
that
else
too.
that would be like, if you're wheelchair bound, if that would be another thing too.
Yeah, no, this is actually a great question. I'm
Wheelchair
happy you asked it
criminals. I
because
bet there are
didn't
a high
consider it.
population of those.
But
Let me
I
look at
think
this up.
that
I
I
bet
think
it's,
that
I
should
don't
be like
know.
a subcategory in all 3 groups. So talking about physically or mentally or emotionally disabled people, you could further, so you could basically put them in the high risk category because they're high risk, right? High risk of being victimized, all that kind of stuff. And then you could still divide up into, basically violent, rehabilitative, and whatever. But then I think that specifically for like the high risk group, this is actually a really interesting consideration that would have to be administered individually or specifically, is that you would probably need more mental health and medical resources
I bet
for
there's a
the
lot of them
high
actually.
risk,
A lot of the old
high risk
fogies.
pool in general,
Hey, have a
and
good
then
night.
the
Thanks for
high
hanging
risk
out with me,
violent group
Sunshine. I appreciate
specifically,
it.
because obviously with like medication and other variables, you could probably actually help people who have something going on that's not manageable from like a
I
personal
don't even know who we
moral
lost. I wasn't
standpoint or
paying
whatever.
attention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's like when you were mentioning that was one of the first things that came up to me. It was thinking of people who are disabled, because I know there's a lot of the prison population is also, I think they label some prisons as like mental health hospitals or something like that too, like because the amount of people who have some form of mental health disability is
Yeah,
pretty high up there.
yeah,
And
sorry, go ahead.
no, that's about it.
No, actually, like this is kind of the thing. This is why I don't like pure right wing free market bullshit. Is because during the 1980s we basically ended public hospitals. One, because they were ripe with abuse, but two, because we didn't want to fund them anymore. As a result, prisons have now become the new mental health hospital for people who basically can't afford to get treatment. As a result, I actually had a friend very specifically who worked in the mental health ward of a prison. And basically, what it is they literally just lock up people who have schizophrenia, keep them in a cage all day, and then basically just check on them every 15 minutes to make sure that they didn't kill themselves. And that's all they do. Obviously, that's not helping almost anybody. And knowing that that's where the system is right now, where we're talking about obviously like rape is a pandemic, is an epidemic in the prison system. And then on top of that, we're literally just locking up insane people and then keeping them in cells and making sure they don't kill themselves. And that's how we're treating them or rehabilitating them or correcting them. I think it's disgusting, and we need to do something about it.
Okay. Let's move on to GSU if he's still there. Not sure if he is. If not, then we're going to go to Falinor, Sprout, and Sig.
All right, I'll go ahead and jump on since it looks like GSCU is temporarily unavailable. Fundamentally, I like Counterpoints' idea. I think there should be a 4th category expressly for sex offenders. My biggest concern in prisons is sex offenders and violent criminals. I like the tiered system. I think there should be 4 tiers: low, medium, high, and extremely high risk. That way, it doesn't impede on people's rights. So, like, say for instance, there's a cisgender male at a male prison that's a historic repeat sex offender, multiple rape charges, sexual assault charges, assault and batteries. So your stereotypical like break in the door, push a woman up against the wall or floor raper, serial rapist. They still have the ability to transition, but then they will be obviously transferred into the new the new prison system, the female prison system, as an extremely high risk sex offender. So they're isolated to a very particular area of the prison with a very particular access level and intercommunal access levels, with obviously some type of uniform that clearly identifies them as extremely high risk sex offender. That way, they're not a risk to the the female prisoners. That kind of system I'm far more for. That way, it's fully inclusive and it doesn't denigrate anyone's rights as a trans person or as a prisoner. And it also doesn't put prisoners in unnecessary danger for people like, for instance, those that declare themselves to be transgender for the purpose of being transferred to a female prison so that they would have access to more potential victims. I like that idea. I think it's fair to everybody. It's more reasonable, and I think it would also help to dramatically reduce the likelihood of rapes in prisons, and could even potentially also solve prison violence in a way.
Okay. Let's go to GSU, then Sprout, and Sig.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not muted. Okay. Yeah, so I was gonna ask, it seems like Connor and maybe somebody else was saying earlier that we create these three buckets in things, and I don't know how we come up with these categories given that the vast amount of rape in prisons, male or female, are unreported, or like there's lots of influence such that those individuals that become victims would never report it because of the things that can happen to them if they do. So I don't, I conceptually agree with you, but I think when we look at what's happening in prisons across the US, I don't know if it's implementable. Like the rape culture in jail is the rape culture in jail, and I don't know if there's a way to create this system where you can separate out the individuals that are quote unquote high risk, because just because somebody doesn't come into jail with a sexual assault crime or sexual harassment crime or whatever doesn't mean they're not going to be a sexual harasser in jail. And we see this a lot with gang culture and everything else in jail.
Yeah, if I could address this since this is my idea, I do understand that this would increase administrative costs, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to have a holistic conversation. So, for instance, like I think the number one thing that should be done in reference to law enforcement reform is marijuana should be decriminalized or legalized recreationally. If it's legalized recreationally, it should be taxed like a motherfucker. Obviously still affordable, but still taxed, and that tax revenue should go to education, and then also law enforcement, because literally we're putting less people in prison for bullshit reasons, right? So what we could do with that increased revenue is fund additional administration. The same way that you have like a service record book when you're in the military, or you have a disciplinary record book when you're like a student at a college or a student at a school. Then you would just have to add that additional administrative ability to evaluate people for categories. I understand this would change bunking, like all that kind of stuff. But basically, what I would hope, this would be my sincere hope, is that if we adopted the Portuguese model for the drug war, we reduced the amount of people that we were incarcerating for the drug war. We could increase the sentences for burglars, rapists, murderers, all that kind of stuff. That way, they stay in jail for longer for actual very serious crimes. And then, with that increase in funding, we would also be able to administer it better under the categories that I came up with previously. That would be my hope.
Fundamentally, I disagree with that counterpoints, and it's not on the basis of you having a bad idea. It's on the basis that I don't think that prisons should be for-profit systems. I think they should be based around
Sure.
actually restructuring society and making them better. I think that if you look at the numbers and look at it from a pure metrics perspective, if we actually rehabilitated the number of people that we have in prisons, especially for low to medium tier offenses, the amount of capital that they would contribute to the economy alone, just based on sheer tax dollars, would overwhelmingly just pay for pretty much 100% prison reform. I fundamentally don't believe that something as important as our prison system should ever be a for-profit institution. I don't think that people at their fundamental level of a foundation of what a human being is should be capitalized on.
Sorry. Yeah,
True.
you got to hurry up because we have limited amount of
All
time.
right.
We got to go. So hurry up.
Very quickly. I agree. I just have to sell my ideas to fiscal conservatives.
Wow. Insane.
So general question, I guess. And just by show of hands, like Doobie can do a show of hands too. So who would be for mixing just men and women prisons in totality? There's no men prisons, there's no women prisons, there's just prisons.
I think some countries actually do that.
I mean, I just find it really interesting that no one's raising their hand, but
No,
some
we can
people
do it. No, I'll do it. No,
I'm actually I'm actually thinking. I was thinking about this, and I was like, no, yeah, probably with some caveats, but
Yeah.
generally, yeah.
let's do it.
How the fuck
Okay.
is everybody not pregnant the next day?
Yeah, that's
What is this?
We
No,
can
let's
have
do
it by like
Let's
murders,
say,
No,
okay,
rapists,
what
like
do we
segment.
why
actually-
Prime? Why?
What do-
Prime, can I
what
beg
we
you for
try-
something?
Hold on. No.
Can we continue this on the open? That's all I'm asking.
Oh, sure. Anyway, hold on.
Shit show on the open.
So, like, what are you trying to protect people from, right? Like, so if you're talking about the system, like a similar system, as to what Counterpoints is talking about, in terms of threat, right? You could, right, in terms of like the same prison, you could house them within the same building, but like in different parts, right? And then you can have different prisons for different threat levels, right? I actually like what Counterpoints is talking about. This is why I added that last part to the question, asking for a third solution. So I'm glad he come up with something that sounds workable.
Well,
Yeah, you could.
I would say that it's totally feasible because we have multiple cell block units in most prison systems currently. They're quadranted out.
Already.
You could have A and B for male and C and D for female, for instance.
Well, no,
So that-
I'm talking about completely intermixing, completely
No.
intermixed. It doesn't matter who's in what cell.
I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, because I think that would be problematic, but not for the reasons why I think putting transgender people would be problematic.
See, I think that's the fundamental disagreement on which we're gonna disagree. Is that you see putting males and females in the same general area in a prison is going to be problematic, but you don't see that same problem existing when you put biological males and females in the opposite jail.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So again, so you can stop dodging it. What are these problems?
Why would
What are
I
these
asked you this
problems?
question? I asked you this question prior. Why?
Transgender women. Like you keep doing this, right? I'm trying to get to these problems that actually matter. So like you said strength, right? Okay, well, one, if they're on HRT, they may not actually have a strength advantage. But two, even if that person does have a strength advantage, that doesn't mean they're the person within that prison population has the biggest strength advantage. So there could be a woman, all right, and they spend a lot of time fucking working out, right, who is stronger than that individual male. Should that woman, right, the strongest woman, it might be the strongest inmate within that prison, should that woman be sent to a male prison? I'm guessing the answer is no. So then we can put that aside, then the strength is the only thing. Then what else do we have to worry about?
The possibility of rape, it goes up. Correct?
There we go.
Does it go up?
This is no. This is exactly the point I'm saying. So you're saying that trans men and women, or women at least, will have an increased likelihood of rape. I'm saying no, that's not the case.
Okay,
You
so
think
then
you're
why?
having a biological male, right? So basically invalidating the femininity, right? The womanness of trans women, right? I'm saying that trans women, no, I don't have an increase. They're more likely to be victimized. Then
I'm going to pose the same question to you.
Yikes.
Why wouldn't you just mix males and females and within general population? Why wouldn't you just mix? If you don't see any issues with this, then why wouldn't you just mix them all together?
So
what would be the issue with that?
I also said hello. I also said yes to the question, but like
Well,
answer.
Prime's trying to grill me with, and I would like him to answer the same question with what he didn't see as a good idea.
So even if the other problems with this is yes, people increase chance of consensual sex, right?
It's still rape.
Hold on. That's legally. That's legally. No, I'm talking about consensual sex within prison. That's a thing. Legally, it may not. It may be classified as rape, and that could be for good reasons. But like that's the big problem, right? We just can't have prison babies popping up all the time, right? But
Yeah,
this
prison
program,
babies.
moving this number of
Prison
people,
babies.
right,
I
for
love my
their own
prison
safety,
babies.
the risk of that is worth it, rather than having these people victimized. Well, an increased amount of victimization within the male prison system. That I say that even if there are prison babies, right, that are the result of this, not that doesn't happen already because there's sex between inmates and prison guards, right? But whatever. That I think that is okay.
So one quick
Okay.
question I just want to ask Prime because I'm
God, I was.
curious about this. But are you okay with the idea of prison? And just I guess this actually would go to the whole panel, but I'm more interested in your answer, Prime. Are you okay with prisoners having sex, assuming it's consensual? Are you okay with that ideology?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah. If there was actually consensual, then that's not a problem. The problem is prison babies. That's literally the problem. Like,
Definitely
if
some.
yeah,
There's definitely some
if
issues.
those men and women could have sex and we could guarantee no prison babies, that'd actually
Contraceptives.
be, yeah. I mean, but no, guarantee. Like we can't. They're going to use the are you going to use the contraceptives? Like I don't know. You can't
Some
guarantee
issues.
that. It's a
If there
problem.
were some issues, because you opened up to the whole panel here with the question, I'm just going to say that like, yeah, there's definitely, I feel like there definitely can be some power issues in regards to like prisoners like having sexual relationships and stuff. Like I don't know that's possible. That's possible, and I can understand the arguments. I have not thought about it very much. Okay,
I don't.
but
I
I
They
would be
rape
receptive.
people at alarming rates now. What do you mean it's possible?
I don't
What?
think
We're
prisoners.
talking about- we're talking
I
about-
don't think
Jason, we're talking about
prisoners have the
consensual.
right to have sex.
He asked about
We're talking about
consensual
consent-
sex. That's
Yeah,
what
we're
his
talking
question.
about
Yeah,
consensual
but
sex. I said
no,
there
listen.
could be some issues with that. What the fuck? I said that there might be some issues with that, and I'd be receptive to some arguments in regards to talking about prisoners with consensual sex and all that stuff. But like, generally, yeah, it'd be for it. Yeah.
I think Chad actually brought up also another really good point here for a change. But someone brought up conjugal visits. But also, what about the consideration to sex workers? I mean, have we ever even considered this as a country, much less a global systemic problem of allowing sex work to occur in prison systems where it's a conjugal visit with a sex worker? I mean, if you can just, pay for the sex versus raping someone or
So
have
you're saying that we unleash
No.
rapists on sex workers? Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm just saying,
No.
like, just in general here, because someone in chat brought up conjugal visits, and they said in several countries conjugal visits are actually normal, and that used to be the case here in America. But if we brought back the concept of conjugal visits, we'll say for at least for low and medium risk prisons, and we eliminated that, I guess I guess we can all agree is human nature and a biological need for sex. And
Yes.
instead transferred that, instead of aggression towards other prisoners, they had consensual sex with certified partners.
But rape is not simply about a biological need, right?
Yeah,
It's,
sometimes it's about power. I'm not
it's
Talking
about
about letting prostitutes
Also
into the
didn't.
prison
Yeah.
or jail.
no. I get that. No, I get that. No. But like the rape isn't just about I have a need, and so this is what I'm going. This is about dominance, right? This is about like victimizing others, right? Like, do you not understand that rape
I
is
don't
more
think
than
it's
sex?
Yeah, but you're
I
saying
don't think
literally
it's.
every rape that
I don't think
occurs
it's that simple in
about
prison, though.
No,
It's not that simple
I'm
in
saying I'm
prison.
not saying it's simple. I'm saying it's very complex. I'm saying prison rape. So if it was simply just like releasing a valve, then maybe this is something to be considered. But it's more than that.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Got you. No, we're on the same page.
All right, Sig.
Yeah. Gosh, people. I wanted to ask Sprouticus a question here. So like, you know who Blair White is?
Yes, I know who Blair White is.
Let's say Blair White commits like a crime or something. She's got to do a little time, a little hard time. You really think that she should be in a male prison?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Wait, so you're not concerned that she might be
I-
very likely to be raped if your concern is rape?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there should be special considerations given the just like there
Oh,
was
no.
with Jeffrey Epstein when he went to jail. There are special considerations given the external circumstances. But yes, I think that Blair White would still belong in a male prison. Yes.
Yeah, it worked out great for old
So
Jeffrey.
like Sprouticus, I just want to say, so like, it doesn't seem like your concern is reducing rape.
It's actually rape.
It doesn't seem
is
that
It
way.
doesn't. It
Okay.
doesn't.
It doesn't
So-
seem like that's your central
okay.
concern.
Okay, but my underneath
I
my
know I'm
eyes,
trying, but it
rape
just
would
doesn't
go
matter.
up
I just can't. My
if,
problem is on a panel like this, I don't
if
do
you
well
had
because I can't.
biological males and
I can't
with biological
interject and
females
just be a dick.
just mix them all in
I'm too
between.
nice.
So
Rape
in-
would go
So,
up.
so you think?
Hold on,
so you-
hold on.
And I
Let
can't
me
just sound like
finish.
an
So,
asshat
in
either.
your view, do you believe that if you put people like Blair White or even like, I don't know, ContraPoints or somebody, in a male prison, do you think the chances of them being raped would go up, or the rape percentage in the male prison would increase? Do you believe that, or no?
I don't think the rape percentage in and of itself would increase putting Blair White in prison, but I would
It
also
wouldn't.
I would also no stop. Can you let me finish?
Let
I
him
mean, I've
finish.
noticed you like to interrupt a lot during this panel.
Hey,
But so
Only when I
with-
hear bullshit.
Sprout, go ahead, Sprout.
I didn't even get to finish. So, when Blair White is in jail, I would argue that she would need special considerations given the
I
external
think Blair White would
circumstances
probably be more likely
of
to be
Blair
raped
White.
by the
just like
staff
we
than
do with
the,
other
actual
prisoners,
inmates,
if
probably,
the
to be
external
honest with you.
circumstances are weird and it's not typical circumstances you have
Because
with
they
someone
put her
coming
in
into jail,
special
they're given special
consideration,
consideration,
and
and I think it should be given that special
hounded by the fucking
consideration.
prison
And
guards.
yes, I think that they should
Be
go into a male
terrible.
prison. And no, I don't think the rape percentage would go up.
What would the special consideration entail? Like, do they get put into like their own cell where they're apart from all the other prisoners?
There
Do
is
they-
yes, there is a protective part of the jail where you can put in basically protective custody and go to a different part of the jail where you're more protected than general population. Yes.
Oh man, almost as if you segregated along 3 different categories and then segregated again along 3 different other categories.
I
You could
don't-
avoid a
I
significant
don't-
amount
I
of the
appreciate
problems.
that. Yeah.
I would still disagree with
Yeah,
yours.
I think definitely
putting
the bigger issue
males
is
and
just, like,
females in
making
the
people more safe
especially
overall. I think the
violent
prison system is
violent
already
ones together
unsafe.
in the
And anything we
same
need to make
jail
more
in
safe for
between
everybody
male and
involved
female
is probably a
jails. I
net
would still
benefit,
disagree with that idea.
No,
Yeah,
it
I
would,
think
it would
that's
still
not
be
necessary.
segregated. It would still be segregated 3 ways. So,
Yeah, so I think that the core disagreement with Spartacus isn't so much the rape thing or the physical power imbalance or whatever. Yeah, I think it's just that you don't think trans women are women, right? And if that's the case,
Doobie,
that's
I
the
mean,
case.
you can label it whatever you want.
It seems
I-
pretty clear that that's what it is.
He doesn't deny it.
You can label it whatever you want. I mean, this is how I think that I think that going this way, you're going to see a huge. You're going to see maybe not huge, but you're going to see an issue come up in jails and at a bigger
Yeah.
percentage than what you've seen it before.
Yeah, this is what COVID brain fuck does. It does for God. This is why you should get vaccinated.
Yeah. So
Bringing it back,
just
Doobie,
keep
bringing
them
it
coming,
back.
Doobie.
I will.
Okay, all right.
I
Well,
intend to.
to my audience, we are going to continue on to the open walk-on panel afterwards. Okay, so the stream does not end. We have more content for you. Right, we are just giving an outro to all these amazing individuals. Well, individuals. No, amazing individuals. We're gonna give an outro to all these people, and then we will continue on to the open walk-on panel. If you have been enjoying this content so far, hit that follow button right now. Hit that follow button. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. I do this 6 days a week, a lot of days a week. It's really an exhausting amount of days a week. But we do it for you. Okay, so hit that follow button right now if you've been enjoying this. And follow us on social media, !social and chat. Follow us on Twitter. Jump into our Discord where we have all these conversations. The open panel will be on the Discord. Everything happens on Discord. Be part of the community. We're always having conversations. And then on YouTube, which is where you'll find the VODs. You won't find the VODs here on Twitch. You'll find them on YouTube. Okay, so that's where you need to be. So subscribe, like, and comment the videos we have there. All right, here we go. So Sig. Before I do that, I just want to thank GSU for coming up with the last topic, or cursing me with that last topic. One or the other. Thank you. All right.
No problem.
You
See?
should pick a topic.
You guys can all bring. Usually, Connor's the only one who covers the topics, but like on my panels, you can come up with a topic if you've been,
Yeah.
between-
Yes, I would love
I'm,
to hand anybody a lit nuke.
Be natural. Thank you for being here. Always appreciate you and your perspective. Right. I feel like you're unshakable when it comes to these things, right? And
I
you're
got
really
shook. I got shook a little bit today. I
you
did.
got shook a little
A
bit.
little
Okay.
bit.
Well, what shook you?
It shook me. I mean, like I said, just a lot of fun. I'm not even gonna get into heavy. No, I'm not gonna. I can't do that.
Okay.
The what shook me, but just I feel I got a little shook up today.
Okay.
But yeah, no. If we're going into the the conclusions, it sucks. I'm the first guy. Doobie, I'm jealous of you. But no, I was gonna say that like I did actually overall enjoy the discussion. I haven't had a discussion like this in a long time. Okay, it's been a long while since I've had like a real thing back and forth, especially with like competing ideas and all that. And I'm not like super angry, about like all the stuff here, about everything I heard today. So a lot of it was pretty predictable. I've seen a lot of you guys talk before, on other panels and stuff, and it seemed like I've typically heard what I expected to hear coming out of it and everything. Really nice to be on here with you, Prime, and I hope to do it again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for helping us out, especially at the last minute to help fill that hole, fill the many holes that popped up. Okay, thank you. Next, we have B.I. His name's Counterpoints. Counterpoints, thank you. A bunch. Thank you for coming up with that really interesting way of segregating prison populations. I thought it was really fun. And you do this. You bring interesting ideas to the table, things that people can digest, right? Mull over. You do that all the time. One of the many reasons I'm happy to have you in my community. So, Connor, tell the world where they can find you.
Yeah, no, my sincere pleasure, Prime. I would like to invite the audience to, if you're not following right now, go ahead and follow Prime. He's awesome for putting these on for us. These little, wrestling fests where we get to fight each other out intellectually. It's very fun, and I love being here. If you can give anyway money, bits, subscriptions, whatever, please do so. He's a great guy, and I appreciate being here. My name is Connor. The easiest way to find me is by going to !Connor in chat. That's the easiest way to do it. !CONOR. You can also find me on Twitter at _counterpoints_, or you can just type in counterpoints into your YouTube search function and you should find me. We're actually about to break 9K. After 10K, I'm going to be doing a hot tub dad bod stream for my inaugural Twitch stream. And I'm inviting anybody who wants to come out and be in a hot tub and, basically stream that day. As long as you have short shorts and a dad bod, you're invited. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Sprouta, thank you so much. Sprouticus, on the opposite sides of opinion, but still, I appreciate you. Right, I appreciate people who disagree, because it widens the scale of conversation, so we can have a deeper understanding of our own positions, one way or the other, even if we don't manage to convince each other or not. So I appreciate you, Sprouticus, and I appreciate you coming on here where other conservatives dare not tread. So thank you for being around, Sprout.
I appreciate the opportunity. You can find me at twitch.tv/thesproutacus and twitter.com/thesproutacus.
Thank you.
Right,
and again, it was always enjoyable having you around, Sprouticus. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. We have Fallener, who is a surprise to us all, but he's here, and we thank him. Fallener, thank you for participating. Tell the world about yourself.
Yeah, so as I normally do, I like to take this opportunity to actually point towards things in society that matter. The nonprofit for today, it seems appropriate, is the Bail Project. It's a national nonprofit that specializes in assisting the economically underserved communities around the country with being able to afford bail. As we all know, that it's a very cruel system that unfairly discriminates against the poor. So if you could take an opportunity to look into the Bail Project, it's a fantastic nonprofit. It's actually one that I donate to personally. And I think that it's a phenomenal institution that does great work for assisting the poor. You can find me online as Falinor or Cryptic Archon, where I do charity work on a regular basis and stream finance and wealth management for assisting those that are economically underserved and those that are interested in helping find financial health and early retirement.
Thank you. All right. Disability Justice / Mike. Mike, thank you for coming through, especially during that first topic. Tell the world about yourself, Mike.
Yeah, I'm Mike. I work with the behavioral health unit with the Burnsville PD and also city official with the city. Just working with the city code task force to redo the whole city code for the city, and basically zoning stuff is like one of the big things we're working on now. I try to do it from a perspective of somebody who's been disabled their whole life. I'm trying to make sure that disabled people aren't. I guess well, in this way, I don't want them segregated, but I guess if we did it in the prison population, maybe some segregation would be good. But try not to do it in regular life as much as possible. And but yeah, and I've worked with the DNC and Democratic Party in Minnesota and everything like that, trying to make sure people have as much rights as possible who are disabled. And thank you for having me on, and make sure to use your Twitch Prime for Prime.
Thank you so much. Next, Biggs, also a surprise, but a good surprise. Thank you for coming through, Biggs, and participating. Tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me on, Prime. I appreciate it. You can find me at Biggs8500 on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Like I said at the beginning, I'm kind of a center-leaning libertarian, center-right-leaning libertarian. I think a lot of what we have on these panels is a lot of people trying to kind of have the same ideas, but just different takes on how to get to those outcomes. And I like to try to bring people together on both sides, try to kind of meet in the middle, and hopefully we can actually solve problems. Hoping to have some more streams with just like more casual conversation, not so much debating, but just like picking people's brains. So come on and check that out on my stream here in the future. And thank you again, Prime. Thank you to all the panelists here. I really appreciate you guys all taking the time and having these conversations. Because as much as we fight and as much as we disagree, I think that getting these ideas out there and getting people's views heard, I think that's how we can make real change. And hopefully the viewers appreciated it. And if you did, everybody, hey, shoot a subscription to Prime, and let's keep this going, because like I said, he does it 6 days a week. He really puts in the work, and I really appreciate everything he does. And to all of you, thank you again. Have a great evening.
Thank you. And I know you are streamed
Thank you.
now. I apologize for not knowing that, but
Yeah.
we also
Thank you for the sub. I appreciate, or for the
Saturday
follow. I
show
appreciate
where
it.
we actually do just like, it's not a debate panel, it's more a discussion panel. Maybe you'd be good for that. Where we
Yeah, I'm down. Like you saw tonight, man. I'm here when you need me, buddy. I'm here when you need me.
Okay, thank you so much. Next,
thank you again for the follow. I appreciate that.
Gambit, who again killed with this last topic. Put us
I don't
at
know how to
odds.
say that, but
well, actually, we're odds.
Elf in Pog form. Okay, I like Elf in Pog form.
Still,
sure.
I appreciate.
Very good. Thank you.
Doesn't matter when he's wrong. But yes, you get it. Thanks so much. I always appreciate your presence. It's actually always a special treat for me. Doesn't matter if we're fighting. I just like having you around. So, Gambit, tell a little about yourself.
Yeah, so I don't think. Well, we do disagree a little bit on that first topic. I don't think the nuances outside of whether or not we should have mandates. I think the rest of it, me and you generally agree with going where the science is pointing. Maybe we have some disagreements on how much we should trust certain things that are out now. But I don't, and outside of the mandates, I don't think there's much disagreement amongst maybe even all of us on the panel. It seems like most people admit coronavirus kills people. I had to argue with Redneck on Twitter that corona kills people, which kind of pissed me off. But yeah, most of us here are at least agreeing that people are dying and like things are real. So it's whether we have mandates is a good conversation to have, as long as our basis is that. On the second topic, we do disagree a lot. Yeah, I don't want to speak more about that. I'm happy we were able to have a good conversation and it didn't boil down to everybody just yelling transphobia over and over and over again. I feel like trans topics are particularly hard to have. I think chat should be maybe more good faith to people. Like, I think this is the second time I've been on a panel and I found out the word transgenders is like a slur. I don't know if most people know that. I don't even know why it's a slur. So if somebody could DM me and help me understand why,
I think it was just like that was said. It was like the blacks, right?
Exactly, right? That's the best comparison. It's like calling black people the blacks, right?
Really?
You know?
That's bad?
Wait, You
I don't
think
see a
that's
problem.
I mean, typically
a
there's an
major? That's a
implication when
major
someone
red
says it like
flag
that.
to me. Like I would never
Really?
call white people the whites. Imagine someone call white people. I would never. That never crossed my fucking head. Even one time, for example.
I don't.
That's something you call your laundry, the whites. I'm doing the white load.
right? Yeah.
I don't see the problem with that. It's like I
Mm.
don't know. Anyway, I understand that it hurts people, so I try to correct my talk. And I like even though I don't understand the
That's
rationale, I
funny.
try my best to like be charitable and say, okay, if this can
Don't you
cause
say
some
you do
danger
the
to other
whites
individuals, then I
load
won't
and
say
you
it.
do the
So I just try to
colored
put that
load,
out there.
right?
But I'm happy we were able to have this conversation. I think on the open, a bunch of airheads are gonna come in and just yell transphobia, and it's gonna like erode the conversation. I'm gonna lead the panel, but hopefully we can have a good conversation on the open. One of the things that I do challenge the people that come on the open, we have like great conversations on the closed panel, and a lot of people here like don't come back for the open panels because y'all are so like airheaded and inflammatory and smooth brain. So I'm hoping that some of the open people step it up and are interested in actually having conversations and trying to figure out where we disagree. But as always, follow Prime, sub to Prime, blah blah blah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Prime.
No problem. And I appreciate you insulting all of my audience. Really, that's a good start. Good start. Okay. Let's get Doobie Doobie. Thank you, our Dark Lord, for coming through and joining us for this. And you had honestly a surprising take of topic 2. All right. I thought you might be on the other side of that, but I'm glad you weren't because you were on the right side of history. So, Doobie, thanks for being
So I don't understand why I'm the Dark Lord. I'm actually a really nice person. So I don't understand that. I feel like I'm nice to most of you guys.
Dark Lord.
Now, just so on topic one really quickly. Yeah, I do think Spartacus should be forced to quarantine. Also, children, if they're not vaccinated should be forced to quarantine. On topic 2, I'm pretty sure Spartacus is transphobic. Spartacus, if you'd like to sit around for the open panel and explain why you're not transphobic, we can do that. But I like I said at the start of that topic, I haven't heard any counters to trans women being in women's prisons that aren't just transphobic on their face.
You can come onto my channel and we
So,
can discuss whether I'm not transphobic or not.
I don't know if I want to give you any attention because the right wingers are not sitting their best
You
with
just
you. I'm sorry.
asked him. You just asked
No,
him. To come
so
on.
the open panel on Prime's open panel, not his thing. I don't want to go on his channel. I don't think you have the mental capacity to present your side
How
intelligently.
about we not ad hom? Okay, let's just keep.
I'm just being
that's
honest.
bullshit, man. That's
You're
bullshit.
ad homing. You've been ad homing the entire time, and I'm fucking tired of it. Dude. If you want to talk to me about this, then come to my channel and talk to me about it.
Okay.
Let's finish.
So
it up.
if you'd like to talk to me about any of this, you can find me on my server. It's the politics server on Discord, the best and biggest politics server on the platform. Discord.gg/politics. Yeah, hope to see you guys there.
Okay. All right. Well,
From the Crown Frog Prince, we love you, Doobie. Best troll on the internet.
I'm not sure if Spartacus would agree that you're a nice guy. Spartacus, what's your opinion on that?
I mean, if you call someone that just says ad homs when they don't have anything more to say a nice guy, then yeah, sure, Doobie is a great guy.
Okay.
You should be forced to quarantine. You should probably be in the jail cell.
Okay, great. Anyway, thank you. All right, so my audience, we're gonna continue on.
Oh, that's so good.
This, right? Any of these individuals can join us, but if not, that's okay. Thank you for spending your time, your energy, your knowledge. God, a fuck ton of passion with my community. I know they appreciate you as much as I do. Have a good one. Goodbye. Oh, God, it's over.
Oh, man, that's funny. All right, everybody. I'm gonna end the stream
Doobie,
tonight.
You know you're wrong. You know it, Doobie.
I'm gonna end the stream.
Man,
Thank you so much for hanging out.
I don't think Doobie. No, you don't believe this dude. This Doobie. Oh, he left the voice, but he stayed in StreamYard. Oh yeah, he left the voice.
All right, I'm heading out, guys. Thank you so much. I might have to give some shit to Doobie later if I can hop in here, but I don't know. We'll see. You guys have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna raid Sprouticus. Yeah, it usually takes him like 10 minutes. It takes a while. Thank you. I'm just trying to be fucking rational, and some people just aren't fucking rational.